Hello everybody and welcome to Wowhead Weekly number 183. We are getting closer and closer to the big 200. We have just a few days left for the new patch. Well, not really a new patch, but the new raid, and there's a lot of things that you may want to know, things that you may want to do before that happens. We will cover all of that together with our special guests of the night, who I will let them introduce themselves. Before I do that, I will introduce my co-host, Perculia.
Hey everyone, I'm Perk. I run Wowhead, so all the features and guides and news you see, I have a role in, and it's always really great to do the stream and to highlight what's been important on Wowhead in the last week. As usual, if you have any questions about what we are talking about, you can message SAS148 and we'll answer them at the end. We don't have PTR this week, but it's exciting because we have a lot of Season 2 news, and we also have special guests. We're trying to do special guests every month in 2019, more frequently, and ta-da!
Taliesin Evitel joining us today.
We mucked it up. Do it again. Start again. No.
Take 3.
Hello, we're Taliesin
and Evitel.
Nice one.
Yeah.
That was smooth.
Yeah.
That was almost like it was rehearsed.
I know.
It's pretty good. And we are pro streamers. We pro stream.
Yeah.
Warcraft.
Yeah. Just all kinds of games.
Yeah, pretty much all that.
We don't do
and
any
we've
of
got
that.
we've got a YouTube channel as well. Warcraft.
And a rather prolific Twitter.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. About 12, 13 tweets a day, something like that.
Yeah. When we started our channel, you know, we call ourselves Taliesin and Evitel do games, plural. You know, because we're gonna play games. It's just World of Warcraft.
Yeah. And to be honest, we barely play that. I know we shouldn't have had play. We should just have talk about. It's perfect.
I think World of Warcraft is a good choice. I mean, I play that too, like
I'm glad you think
95% of the time. So
Yeah,
I
I'm glad we all
approve.
think WoW's a good choice because we all focus on WoW here, so we'd be having a crisis if we
Exactly.
suddenly
You
didn't
don't
like
run
WoW.
Assassin's Creed head, do you? So it's like.
You'd have to
No,
change the
and
name.
actually,
We can't be called Wowhead anymore.
But we genuinely just play WoW all the time. It's ridiculous. I buy so many other games. I
No
bought
time.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey specifically just to walk around it for 10 minutes and enjoy ancient Greece. And that was it. I was done. I logged back onto WoW.
Oh, wow. Assassin's
I know,
Creed is
and
actually a
don't
beautiful
dislike it.
game.
Great afternoon. It's fantastic. Just walked around it, got some sun. And this is lovely. This is so nice. And then logged back onto WoW.
I recognize that feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're unfamiliar with their YouTube, T&E does the Weekly Reset, which is a new show that it's like much more condensed and funny, jokey than Wowhead Weekly, covering the ups and downs of the week. And then they also have these really interesting like lore deep dive analyses in the middle of the week as well, usually. And then they also stream a few times a week. And Brightpaw's really into this and he's waiting my arm.
Yeah, he's here. I thought he was
Yeah.
gone.
Nope. But yeah, Brightpaw really has thoughts about the Weekly Reset. And my
It's nice of you to say that the Weekly Reset is funny. This is already funnier than any episode of the Weekly Reset we've ever done.
I know.
Like, absolutely. Totally down with it.
And it's funny, you guys are like really good at the YouTube stuff, and I'm like really far into the YouTube things, which is, you know, why I mess up intros, for example. I'm more into the streaming things, and I heard that you guys are also actually sometimes on Twitch, right?
Yeah, we're pro streamers.
Of course.
I think we've streamed about 10 hours in the last 2 weeks, something like that.
That's actually a lot.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
We've
That is
dabbled.
actually a lot.
Yeah, and usually they take the form of Taliesin doing a couple of hours, and then like I come home from my IRL job and just pop in and say hi, or I arrive with like a pie, or like I make Taliesin a cup of coffee. Like,
Yeah,
that's
you're
so
like the special guest
nice.
star on the
a
stream.
little bit,
Yeah.
a little bit.
That is very kind of you.
Yeah.
Taking care
Well,
of
that's what we say
Taliesin.
anyway. Like, little do the people watching the stream know that I'm literally just in front of the camera. All the gameplay that you see, that's Evitel doing that live.
Oh yeah.
And I have to
Narrating
react
the
to it if I'm
gameplay.
playing it, which is hard. It's really difficult streaming. Yeah, that's
Some
why we don't
behind
do it
the
very
scenes
often.
information here. Yeah, we've got quite a few things to delve into today, as promised from last week.
Before we start, we forgot the giveaway. So every week, does a giveaway in Twitch chat, and usually we pick the shop item in advance. But this time, because we have guests, we thought that they could pick a battle pet each, and then the keyword to enter. So Sass is awaiting your giveaway entry and your 2 pets for that he wants.
2 pets?
Yeah, you each
one
get
pet each.
Pet.
Oh, nice. I want to choose the. Do we tell you now?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to choose the Ultrac pup. Ultrac brew pup. I haven't got it in front of me. Sorry, I'm making
Scroll
it up.
down.
Maybe I've made that up. Is that one?
Yeah, no, it's
that's one of
it.
them.
It has like a little keg.
Ultrac, what am I talking about?
Yeah.
Of course it is. What do you want?
And I want to do Argy.
Oh, that's a cute one.
He's adorable. He has earrings. He's a tiny,
really?
like, magical goat.
He's like
he
Mexican,
does.
isn't he? He's
Yeah.
a Mexican
Right.
pet.
Yeah, he's like Ball, but not evil. So
Yeah, totally.
The kind version. All right, I'm sure Sass got that. Hopefully he'll put it in the chat. And there's probably going to be a giveaway code that you guys will type in the chat as well to enter the raffle.
What, right now?
Awaiting keyword. Oh, maybe he wants you guys to choose keyword
yeah,
too.
do you want to? Yeah.
Should we just type it in the chat right now?
Sure.
Sure.
But you guys in the chat will need to wait for Sass to actually start the giveaway for your entry to count.
Don't spam it now.
Don't spam it yet.
Oh, right. Should we not put it in?
No, you should.
Yes, he needs to know what the keyword is.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you guys will choose it.
Chose this keyword.
Oh, wait. No, we don't follow you. We can't write in your chat. Sorry, hang on.
Oh, well, this is
Okay,
awkward.
now we can.
I love how today's show has started. Wait, what is that? Belle's second channel. Oh.
Oh.
I love it.
Okay.
My favorite.
Well,
It's
there
my
you go.
favorite second channel. I watch it all the
Charging
time after I've
battery.
watched all my first channels.
Of course.
Charge complete.
Oh, my headset telling me that charging is complete. Well, thank you,
Well, that's
headset.
good.
All right. Awesome. So Sass got it. He will start the giveaway in just a moment. I'm actually impressed that nobody else copied it.
Everyone listens to us.
Yeah, people
so
actually
it's
listened.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually read the articles and they're nice in the comments and they follow instructions.
Oh,
See, Sass said, all right, all set, go, and everyone starts typing.
there we go. Everyone wants those pets, man. It's a double pet week. I don't blame them.
Oh, yeah,
we wrote
2
it in the
winners.
channel, that counts as our entry as well, yeah? Just to check.
Thank goodness you
Oh,
can
yeah,
copy
you have a
paste
chance of
this.
winning too. Of course.
I thought Blizzard gave you all the shop mounts and pets, so you don't need them.
Yeah, they send it to us in a brown envelope with our script for the week. Everyone knows it.
All right. Well, that's good. Now we got the giveaway running. I think now we can jump into what we want to talk about today.
Yeah. So,
Actually, one more thing before we get started.
Okay.
If you guys have any questions to us or to T&E, you can at Sass and he will keep those questions for us for the end of the show. And yes, they will be with us for the entire show. They are not allowed to leave. No, they are. They can stay here for as long as they want to, and they can also decide to answer your questions if they want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the best thing.
Mm-hmm. All right, Perk, do you want to start with
right.
the first news of the day?
right. So, we don't have a PTR this week, but we will be discussing some interesting lore stuff about last week's PTR at the end. But first, we're going to start off about the news that Mike Morhaime, who announced he was retiring Blizzard, is actually really leaving Blizzard this time in April. This caused a fuss because there was an SEC filing that he was stepping down from his advisory role in April. And of course, that led to a round of everyone feeling sad again that, Mike Morhaime was a big part of the company and now he's not with Blizzard. But I don't think it's too much of a big deal because he announced he wanted to step down, and the advisory role seems like it would be temporary. It would be weird if he was perpetually, advising the new CEO how to do his job. But
it's
that caused a big stir when that came up.
It's exactly 6 months, isn't it, since he announced he was
Yeah.
stepping down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it feels like the kind of thing that would have been planned in advance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it all seems legit and above board.
Mm-hmm.
I wish it wasn't. I wish it was much more exciting than that.
Yeah.
I wish. Do you know what I wish? I wish like Brack had just turned round when Morheim had said he was going to stay on an advisory role, and he was like, "Nah, this is my show now, mate.
Imagine that.
Out you go. We said goodbye. Why are you still on stage?
Yeah,
Get out!"
because
And
we
he
don't
put on
have-
these black leather gloves.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Get out of here, Morheim. This is my show. Boys, take the medicine statue down. Put all the flags up with my face on,
Oh.
and add more pets to the WoW store. Do it. This is how it's going to work from now on, guys. Things are changing around here. At last, I've got it. I've made it mine."
Oh god.
You know, I
It would
heard
have liked to have happened, but it didn't happen.
No.
I heard some people saying that, you know, we should have learned about this via a blue post and not this SEC filing. But it's like he already said he was going away, and they did the tribute for him at BlizzCon, like an actual nice tribute instead of J. Allen Brack being evil. It's like, oh, here's thundersticks that we're gonna wave together and, you know, thank Mike. So he kind of did get his send off. But obviously, it's also weird because I don't think anyone who plays WoW really cares about like an SEC filing, and all of a sudden we're all experts on SEC filings.
Oh, I love it.
Of course, everyone loves it.
Digging around Vision 5.02, and people are asking me where the post is, and I'm like, I'm researching this. I'm not going to say something stupid about the SEC that I've never seen before. I'm going to read this very boring long document.
Yeah. But yeah, we're all experts in finance now. We're all experts in CFOs.
We're all day traders, apparently. Yeah, which is why we get to play WoW all day. That explains it.
Yeah, totally. So it's teaching me a lot, all this WoW news recently.
Yeah, really.
I was always a stocks expert. So
I actually noticed in one of your latest videos as well, where you were talking about, you know, the whole topic surrounding Activision and like not wanting to say the wrong thing about things, because when people like to complain about things, they like to think that they're experts and, you know, put their comments on it. And, you know, if something happens, it's like, oh, this definitely means that WoW is dying. Everything is completely wrong. And like, it was funny with the tweet that you showed with some kind of customer support tweet, which was a year old.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the problem is like, when you're writing like an article, or you're a creator, particularly if you're a creator that, you know, your livelihood counts for how many videos you can get out. You know, so the temptation is always just produce videos as quickly as possible. That's why we do so well, is because we manage to get a video out like every week and a bit sometimes if we're really lucky. But like I can see the pressure that people are under, and sometimes the temptation is, if you see an article which is pretty juicy and has some like revelatory things in it, you kind of just want to react to that in a way, and kind of and you have to like make yourself sound like you know what you're talking about, because otherwise what's the point of you making the video?
Yeah, people won't
and
listen
that can kind of like make things sound like fact when they're not. And you know, it's you got to be careful with that sort of thing. And like then you have like rhetorical flourishes like you get in articles and stuff, like with that customer support thing, because that was reporting on the 100 staff leaving the core office.
reduction.
Customer support and QA as well, but mostly customer support is my understanding of it. And full disclosure, we know some of those people personally, you know, so like we're not like completely dispassionate viewers. But and at the end of this article just said, oh, so not Blizzard say it won't affect customer service, but
look at this tweet.
Said service closing early today. So it's like they do that like 9 times a week.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure actually why there's no PTR this week, I think, is because customer service was like, oh, we're not going to be around these next 2 days, and Blizzard people are tweeting about hackathons. So it's like, oh, there's either something really bad happening at Blizzard, or they're just having their like holiday party, like community building day. So
yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. Yeah.
But while we're on the topic of things maybe being misinterpreted that are fairly routine, there is an esports announcement earlier today as well for 2019. We're not all esports experts here, but something that stood out was that the prize pools would be more expensive than 2018. Well, I guess it's also important to note that there is esports, so it's not Dead Like Heroes. But the interesting thing was that they said that there will be toys coming to the in-game shop that are Alliance and Horde themed, and some of the proceeds will go to the prize pool, which does sound like the Dota International, which is very well regarded and has like record prize pools, but people think shop and they also panic because they hear the word shop. And that was news an hour before the show, so I made sure to get it into the notes.
Nice one. See, this is like cutting edge rolling news.
Oh yeah.
Live news.
Amazing. Isn't that that's what they do in Dota? Yeah, that's how they run their esports.
Yeah, so they sell. I don't remember exactly what kind of products they sell, but they sell something, and or maybe it's completely donation based. I'm not sure.
It is they have.
But it is crowdfunded.
A battle pass, and there's different levels of the battle pass, and based on their 2018 site, 25% of all proceeds go towards the prize pool, and there's some line at the very bottom of this community goal where if the total surpasses last year's mark, every battle pass owner receives more bonus points, and if they make even more money, then they get even more battle points. So it's a lot more elaborate than just buying a toy from the shop, but you have to start somewhere.
But there will be like a minimum prize pool as well. Like it won't. Yeah.
They said they've already given the totals. I think it's like 10,000 for cup, and then 100,000 per like MDI LAN or arena final. They didn't say how much of the shop items are going towards the prize pool. They said that's coming in an upcoming blog, I believe, more details. But we do have the models for them, I think, maybe.
Are those the ships?
Auto shutdown.
Yeah, they're like the little
canceled.
battlefield, the little flying thingies. Yeah, the little
Charge
ship
complete.
toys, Alliance and Ord ones. We saw them in the PTR, and we were like, oh, we don't know what these are for. And then today I was like, oh, well, that looks like Alliance and Horde. So it's really fun when something you data mine just like falls into place, and you're like, oh, now this makes sense.
I think we'll be able to work out how much of it is going to the prize pool by how much the pets cost.
Right.
Because on the store right now, pets cost £9, and if these go on sale for, let's say, £11, I think I know how much is going to the prize pool. I think I'll work.
These are toys, so they could.
Oh, sorry, you're absolutely right. No, my mistake. Yeah. They won't be £9. That'd be obscene.
So I'm not. Yeah, I mean, you can't use them for as many things as a pet. Like you can't get. I guess you have achievements, but you can't, battle with them or name them or do cool things. But yeah, I mean, I'm okay with this. I think it's a good thing. I think it's also better. It's better than last year's. I think it's good that they're actually trying to innovate. There was a concern it wouldn't really be a thing in 2019 because Heroes died. Yeah. But I think it shows that they're trying new stuff, and the Dota thing seems very highly regarded. So I'm cool to see how this works out.
I think having crowdfunding is not bad in itself. I guess a lot of it could depend on also what kind of percentage it is. If it's a very small percentage, then that's not very nice. But if it's a big one, then that could be very nice, because a lot of people feel like the WoW esports has been very underpaid in general compared to a lot of other esports, and maybe that will give more incentive for people to actually try to be a part of it. For players, for example. So hopefully the percentage is pretty high.
If you were in a team that was expecting to get to the MRI and stream it, would you worry that might affect like donations and subs that you would get from being in the MRI? Like people know that they're kind of already contributing it by buying a pet or buying a toy, so they wouldn't like help out your stream or whatever. Is that a thing? Because I'm a pro streamer, so like I mean obviously that's.
So I'm also a pro streamer, but from what I've read in the JB Mythic Plus articles, there was some tension last year where people would have to decide not to stream for a few weeks to perfect their strats, and there wasn't much of a reward for doing so if you didn't place highly. So maybe the fact that the prize pool is higher means that you would be less stressed taking some time off from streaming and having the whole donation cycle, because the prize pool would be better overall.
Sorry, I just want to point out the fact that Taliesin said MRI.
Did I?
Once
yeah.
or twice.
I know. I didn't notice it until chat noticed it. I slipped through the net, that one.
You're such a pro.
It is worth pointing out that for some reason they have renamed it from the Mythic Dungeon Invitational to the Mythic Dungeon International, because I guess they're trying to have as many Dota parallels as possible.
Well, I still think we should rename it MRI. Now we've done it. The Mythic Invitational.
They could expand it, have it be the Mythic Raid Invitational.
There we are.
Or the Mythic Rage Quit Invitational.
Nice.
Rage Quit. But yeah, with the were you with the MDI having a crowdfunding, were you also talking about how maybe me as a player, I don't want to tell my viewers that because then the support to me will go to that instead? Is that kind of what you were also saying, or no? Did I misunderstand that?
I don't know, because if I was, I mean, I am a pro streamer, but if I was a pro streamer who took part in the MDI, and I was relying on myself
donations
streaming
and subs.
and getting donations and things coming in, would I be worried that if people know that they've already contributed money towards the prize pot of that by helping, would that affect my income from stream? I don't know, because I didn't quite qualify for the MDI last season, so I don't know.
Next one for sure.
So close.
I think this would be a great topic for JB to weigh in on in his weekly Wowhead articles that go up on Monday.
Yeah, that's actually a very good question. I'm not sure how the MDI players feel themselves, because I do recognize what Perk said, which is completely true. People felt like they have to take time off of stream, which definitely means that they're losing money, because that means, you know, people are not around to resubscribe, especially with Twitch Prime. People have to be there to actually sub, or those just expire. Same with donations. If you're not live, no one's going to donate to you ever. So if you're relying on donations and subs, you will lose a big bunch. But in terms of if you're able to stream already, and the fact that people think they're already supporting you by supporting the crowdfunding, that's an interesting one. I'm not sure.
Well, there's also a much wider audience. I feel that if someone that has a stream, they'll have their dedicated fans, but the casual reach of Blizzard just having a post being like new toy for sale it reaches a wide range of people, and you would have people donating to the prize pool that
wouldn't otherwise come to your stream.
Twitch.
Yeah,
I'd imagine so. Totally.
So it'd be interesting if they had more drops. I know with Overwatch, for example, with the Anna event, they had it so if you watch different streams, you could earn different rewards. And I don't think we've had anything like that for WoW, and it would be interesting if they kept making the system more robust. So maybe if you watched the PvP tournament, you would unlock stuff in WoW. I don't know.
That's something I really miss, actually, having drops in WoW, because I've never seen that happen ever. I think that could be really interesting to build up the hype on Twitch as well for World of Warcraft.
Cool.
Yeah, actually and have it be like, I know if you attached your account, I think last year you got a title if you watched for 10 minutes, but that's really low time and engagement compared to what Overwatch has, where it's like, watch for 6 hours. So I know, I think it would be healthy. So
definitely.
MDI doesn't really need it though. That stuff is huge. Like, people love the MDI.
Well, I mean, there's no limit, right? It can always get bigger.
Yeah, bigger is better.
Bigger is better. More interest to World of Warcraft in general. I'm actually really happy that MDI is doing as good as it is, because we never really had arena or raiding be that successful. The last raid was actually pretty popular because of the first time World First race being public. But yeah, not Blizzard, obviously. But I'm just thinking about popularity on Twitch in general. Both arena and raid has been kind of mediocre, and seeing that MDI is popular among the public is great.
Yeah, I mean, I know some teams are sponsored by, Method, for example. I think Limit has talked about wanting to field an MDI team, but I don't think everyone on these MDI teams is, a full-time streamer or definitely not sponsored. I mean, Method made a lot of waves when they brought on Mythic teams to sponsor them. So it's still a growing industry, and I think any support Blizzard can provide is a good thing.
And another thing, like with crowdfunding and having more bigger prize pools, means that people, I guess you could say that they're risking less. Let's say you're a streamer, but you want to push and make your own tactics in certain dungeons that you don't want to share publicly. So you decide to not stream for, let's say, 2 or 3 weeks, or not stream as much. Then if the prize pool is bigger, then that means your motivation and incentive to do so is more okay.
Yeah, totally. And it means you can have cash prizes for more different placings as well.
Yes,
so
that's also very true.
Some money out of it as well.
That's also very true.
I also think that it can help the community feel like they own the event. I know, for example, Awesome Games Done Quick, everyone always wants to beat the record from last year, and it's everyone's individual contributions matter. And this way it's like, well, do you guys want to make this happen? Dota's audience made these records happen. Do you guys want to help grow this? Well, then now you actually can for the first time, and that's exciting. Maybe have like a little like donation tracker on the right-hand screen as people buy toys, have it keep spinning up. People love watching numbers go up.
Oh man.
That's actually
Can you
so
imagine?
true.
Can you imagine the angry YouTube videos though? If that happened, can you imagine? Look
But
what they've done now. They're begging for your donations.
I do really hope that the cut is big, because I don't want it to be like yet another reason to be mad at the store. Because I know that most people do feel that there, shouldn't really be a store with too many things for us to want to buy for a game that we're already paying a subscription for. But if the cut for the tournaments is big, then I think that could be understandable and people would be okay with that.
Yeah, I think people are a lot more forgiving of that sort of thing if there's a specific reason for it.
Exactly.
And knowing that some of that money will be going towards, I'd imagine that pretty much all of the money from the pets, from the toys, no matter how much ends up in the prize pool, will be going to kind of fund the MDI in some way.
Yeah, in a way.
So you'd have to be pretty harsh to sit there going, I pay my subscription, that should pay for the external MDI competition.
Right.
So I reckon they're on solid ground with that one. But you're right. As soon as people see the word shop, they're gonna go crazy.
Yeah. Just looking at the blue post, it says that the toys are going on sale in the spring, and the prize pools will be announced later in the year, and there are details to follow. So we should be getting more information on this. I hope Blizzard isn't sad that we sort of leaked the models, but they didn't encrypt them. They just threw them in the PTR. So there you go.
It was there to be taken and shown to everybody.
Yeah. It's all part of the hype machine now.
Exactly. I had a little bit about that later on in the show, because it's very interesting how they just dropped this PTR bill when there's nothing going on, and now we didn't get one this week because like more stuff's coming up, so it just gave people something to talk about for a week. But so the next topic we just wanted to review, because most of the show was going to be on season 2 stuff, so we wanted to ease into that by talking about what's actually going away when season 2 hits and what are the things you should work on now. And I have this pain expression because Braypaw is digging into my hand. So what is going away in season 2? There are some Mythic Plus achievements, which are
good transition from MDI.
Yeah. So it's good there's achievements, but when you compare it to what raids and PvP has, the rewards are very like anemic and just sort of bleh.
Yeah, well, there is no reward except for an achievement, right? Or do you get a title?
What are the achievements that's going away?
There's feats of strength for completing +10s in time and +15s in time if you complete all of the dungeons.
And that's it. There's no reward. It's just
I don't think there's any reward in combination with that, because we have things like what do we have for raids? Well, for PvP, for example, we have mounts. Every season there's a new mount. For raiding, we have special achievements with like cutting edge, ahead of the curve, and I feel like Mythic Plus is lacking proper rewards. And that's in general speaking too. Like we had better rewards for challenge modes in MOP compared to what we've ever gotten for doing Mythic Plus.
Yeah, and with Blizzard really pushing this whole like, oh, it's a new season and there's esports and there's PvP and Mythic Plus, the PvP rewards are super robust and complex, and the Mythic Plus rewards are just like, you get residuum and you buy stuff at the end of the week. So the Mythic Plus stuff isn't too inspiring. It would be nice if they maybe added like a weapon or an armor like you were saying with MOP. It would be cool if they had a cool transmog sort of referencing how this all got started as a result for the feat of strength. But yeah, right now you just need to do your achievements before season 1 goes away.
Plus you get the enjoyment and personal satisfaction of like doing the newer fix as well though.
Oh, that's in season 2.
Yeah, exactly, coming up. Totally. Yeah. But like, I mean, as in just like rewards that you get from Mythic Plus, that's your reward.
Yeah. There's always going to be good feelings. Yeah.
Learning how to cope with reaping.
Yeah.
And completing a +15 is actually pretty difficult, and especially completing a +15 in every single dungeon. So getting achievement is
especially
great.
With the lack of keystone deletion.
Yeah, because you may not get the key that you want either.
Exactly.
So it's an RNG game and a difficult game. I think it just would have been nice if they added an additional reward to it. Maybe a special pet, maybe a mount. Maybe a mount is too much. I don't know.
Would that be enough for
something.
you? Would you be happy with the cosmetic rewards?
I
or
would
you,
be.
Would you prefer something like more relevant sort of gear-wise or something?
I would be more happy with a cosmetic reward for something like that.
Yeah, I think the people that
because you
are in
get
it
gear
for...
as you play Mythic Plus, right? Like you do your weeklies, you get gear. So I feel like I'm happy gear wise where Mythic Plus is, except for the Azart system, but that's a different topic. I'm okay with how you get gear doing Mythic Plus. I'm just not happy with, or I'm not motivated to finish plus 15s. Like right now, people are telling me on my stream before, why don't you do plus 15s? There's a feat of strength. It doesn't interest me. If there was a cosmetic reward, I probably would have done it because then I would know that cosmetic reward, whether it's a pet or a mount or anything, that thing will be unobtainable after the season's over, and that's a cool thing.
What would you, if it was a transmog set, would you have it so that like every week, if you completed a plus 15, you got one piece of the transmog set? So you'd need to do like 8 weeks or whatever to kind of build up the whole set?
That could be tough for people who may need to take a break for whatever reason, for maybe a week or two.
It could be like the PvP progress bar, where every week there's a new thing if you fill up the bar.
Yeah.
And
then you can catch up.
You could catch up. I think that would be cool.
That could maybe, that could maybe work. But yeah, any kind of like having a cool transmog, that was one of the things, because they removed class sets, right? And I thought maybe that's to save time. You know, having one set for 3 classes means less time spent on creating those. Maybe we'll get some other cool transmogs. And I was hoping to see those cool transmogs as Mythic Plus rewards, but I haven't seen it yet. Like I've seen Warfront.
Challenge mode, those weapons were amazing. Having like an arsenal of like season 1 arsenal of weapons, season 2 arsenal of weapons. I think.
Oh man, those WOD challenge modes, that was the closest I've ever come to paying for a carry. Because I was not playing like properly in those days at all.
Yeah, those are amazing.
You know, it was WOD, and I was like, I was looking at those things like the week before it all ended, and you couldn't get them anymore. I was looking at those incredible weapons. I was like, you know, it would only cost 75 quid for a carry. I could do it. I could get those weapons. I had no guild or anything.
Did you do it?
No, of course not. I haven't got the weapons, have I? I wouldn't be sitting here on this stream right now. I'd be online in the game looking at my amazing weapons.
But you
could have like a transmog stream. Like, oh, you know, professional streamer, like rank 1 warlord.
So totally. That'd be my weapon like all the time.
By the way, side note, if we're grimacing, it's not just because of these weapons. It's either a neighbor is burning the house down, or they have completely failed at making dinner. So I'm just like,
there is a distinct burning smell.
Yeah, there's a burning smell.
It's not Morris.
It's not Morris.
You guys have a burning house, and I have a cat mauling my arm. So.
Yeah. This is fine.
Yeah, Luna has actually been climbing all over me for the last 10 minutes. She just left me now, though. I had to bring the pillow so she's not covering me in front of the camera. She wanted part of the fame as well. Like, I want to be on camera. But yeah, she bails now.
When you're that fabulous, you get in front of the camera, though, don't you? If I was as fabulous as that.
I'd put my bum up in front of the camera. Like,
you get banned. TOS.
Oh no, Brightpod's gonna get us all banned.
Oh no.
Cat stream.
I am like going back to the Mythic Plus thing. I am happy that there are achievements for it. Completing a plus 15 in every dungeon. I'm happy that there is such a thing because not many people are doing those, since a plus 10 is all you need for the max amount of gear to obtain. So I'm glad there is an achievement. I just wish there was something else.
Hey, actually, I mean, thinking about it, Legion had the artifact appearance from the plus 15, so that was at least something transmog related.
There's your cosmetic reward right there.
Yeah, and I did those. I was motivated to do those.
Yeah, and I did a plus 15 in Legion. I mean, loads every week. I mean, obviously, but I haven't done one in BFA yet. I haven't done plus 15.
So how interested would you be in cosmetics? Would you do plus 15s if you knew that it gave some kind of cool mount or pet or something?
Yeah, I mean, I've been sort of. One of the reasons I haven't done plus 15 in BFA yet is because I've been far too busy doing arenas and getting my PvP rating up and filling that bar specifically to get the hippo, which is another thing disappearing in season 2.
Yeah.
Because limited time rewards and mounts and cosmetics, that's the kind of thing that motivates me to do gameplay that I wouldn't usually do.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no way that I would have PvP'd if I hadn't been with that hippo. And war mode as well, because I would never go into like arena and stuff like that, because I'd feel bad. I'd feel like I was letting people down. You know, it just didn't interest me in the slightest. I'm a PvE player. That's what I like. But then that hippo came along, man. And then I had war mode on for the entire time that I leveled through BFA, and it made me feel more confident, because, you know, you come across people in the world and you like practice PvPing on a very small scale and stuff. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I would. I would. And I worked so hard, and it took me much longer to get it than it would most people, because I've never PvP'd before. And like, no, genuinely. And I felt like, honestly, getting that hippo was one of the proudest moments of my WoW life. Like, it was up there with like beating my first raid and stuff like that in guild.
Great.
And I was lucky that I had some guildies that I did it with and who were very patient with me, and we would stay up for hours and hours and hours, like doing arenas after raid. And it got to the stage where after we finished with Ulduar and stuff like that, my favorite thing about raid night was knowing that once raid was over, we'd be doing PvP.
Yeah, you like slip into
like you had something to look forward to. Yeah.
So for the 3 people on the stream that don't know what the hippo is, the PvP stuff going away in Season 1, there are these, when you fill up your rated PvP progress bar, you either get the River Beast for the Alliance or the Cleft Hoof for the Horde, who is way less cool. And you can do RBGs or 3v3s to make the bar go up. And you cannot buy this from the Vicious Saddle until the end of BFA. So you need to get the hippo now, or you're out of luck for probably a year. And there's also like dozens of transmog rewards going away. There are the Dread Gladiator tints. No word if you can get them in the next season. Then there's the Elite tints. Then there are capes and tabards and weapons, and even the things from the War Supply crates, the aspirant items, they're going away as well. So there's a lot of transmog that's just sort of going poof. You can get a recolored version still through the Arathi Warfront, but if you want, you know, the certain like iconic gladiator tint, that is going away. And of course there's which we're all gonna get this, the Dread Gladiators Proto Drake. You need to, you know, win 50 games in the gladiator bracket and all those super high-end titles. So there's just, it's so cool how there is stuff for every level of PvP gameplay, not just, well, I'm not good enough to get the gladiator mount, so I'm not going to bother. I think it's neat how there is stuff at every level. And
I was satisfied after I got the hippo. I was tempted to just play like 2 more games and get the gladiator mount as well, but then I was like, I don't want to...
Let someone else have it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm nice. I'm letting other people have it.
It was like 1 a.m. So... But actually, one of the most satisfying things, because obviously we've made a bit of a joke of like this whole hippo thing and Tally's epic journey to get it and stuff like that, is the amount of like tweets and messages we get from other people who had never PvP'd before and were like inspired.
Yeah.
Because they obviously thought, man, if Tally can do it, then honestly, who can't?
Too. Whoa.
And like they went in there and they did it, and like I like now I've done it. I'll be doing 3s every season. I love that stuff. It's great. It's like, it's just good fun. As long as Disc is still OP, I will be doing it.
Are you going to do this season?
Yeah. Have you seen it? You get the cool saber.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
those
it.
mounts actually cool.
904 foot one.
Of course.
Yeah.
The best thing about having the hippo is that you ride it into 3v3 matches, so everyone knows that you're an absolute pro.
Oh yeah, show off. Like,
And
hey, I've been playing the
Persians and
season.
stuff, so they know not to mess with me.
Yeah.
They're like, that is a pro PvPer right there. Oh no, wait, it's Tally.
I've actually been doing a lot more PvP this season as well compared to any time in the past, and I think part of that reason is that I think the PvP system is just better in general. And they're improving it even more, which we will talk about a little bit later or very soon with the gearing, how that's going to work. But I like the whole new system with the different brackets, how when you reach a certain rating, that means you've unlocked that bracket, so you know exactly how well you're doing. You know exactly how your progression is looking. Whereas in the past, you would never know. Like, it's like, am I rival? Am I challenger? Am I duelist? Like, I have no idea. I have to wait until the end of the season, and then I'm happy for like, you know, a day, but then I have to focus on the next season. Like, it's already over.
Yeah, and then even with War Mode, there's the Conqueror Scythe Maul you can get if you do like the meta achievement. There are different War Mode achievements related to the assaults. You get more stuff from when you turn War Mode on. You get more rewards.
Oh yeah, War Mode is also
and there's
great.
even the Duelers Guild. I feel like
the Duelers Guild is not really used, to be honest.
Well, it's just nice that they were thinking of
it was a nice attempt.
What they want. Yeah, it was a nice attempt. It showed that they were trying to add more depth to the just general PvP system outside of like
I've had people right-click duel me more often than people sign up for Duelers Guild when I'm standing around the Dueler Guild area. And I think one of the reasons is the cooldowns don't reset. If your cooldowns would reset, I think that might give people more incentive to do it, because when you duel, it's kind of annoying to have to wait for big cooldowns. But if you know that you can just quickly sign up with the guy over there for a Duelers Guild duel, then maybe you do it. I'm not sure. But it's nice. It was a nice thought, and it's nice that it's there. But I wouldn't say that it was like a game-changing thing for me. But I do feel like War Mode has been amazing as well in terms of PvP. We haven't had any reason to really go out and kill things in the past, and now we get new weekly quests every week to slay 25 horde players, and it gives you a 370 piece as well, which is pretty good gear for most people.
And there's even those little feats of strength. I was updating the title guide. It's like if you have the bounty on your head and then you get 10 honorable kills, you get special titles and the feats of strength. It's just all these little
I've got my
like
Horde Slayer achievement, and it felt awesome when I got that.
Yeah,
it was really
same.
just hanging out in Drustvar, that was me. It's brilliant. It's a PvP mecca, that place. It's so good.
I do love War Mode, actually.
I love it so much.
No, it's great.
It's added like a really nice flavor to just kind of gameplay and wandering around and then just coming across people, either ganking each other or just like amassing these massive groups where they're just,
Have you tried the new elixir, which allows you to understand the other faction?
No, I don't want it rubbed in. I don't want that.
They say only the sweetest things. They shower you in like love and kisses.
I'm so sorry about this.
I'm sorry.
No, don't. It's like one of my a memory that I always have of this game came like at the beginning of BFA, where War Mode people were still getting used to War Mode, and it was still like this thing where it was really touch and go. And there was I think I was leveling, and there was this mission. No, it must have been a world quest, but there was this mission in like Drustvar somewhere, and it was inside a house. You had to go and kill someone inside a house, an elite. And I got there, and I started killing the elite, and this like warrior came in, a horde warrior. I was playing on Alliance at the time. I was like, oh no, man, because this elite is kind of hurting me a bit as well. So if he decides to hurt me and then take the elite, and he didn't, he helped me kill the elite.
Oh, wow.
And then to show my appreciation, I stood there, neither of us attacking each other, and waited for the elite to like respawn, and then I helped it. Just as we were about to kill it, another Alliance player came and killed him.
No.
Because like as we were both killing this elite together, I was thinking, I'm so proud of us.
Yeah.
Sylvanas can't wedge us apart.
Yeah, it's like
we're making peace here, and then like just a random Alliance came in and killed him.
So he didn't get the tag?
Sorry, dude.
Surprise, sad things happen.
Oh no, poor
always
guy.
Remember that. But on stream, like someone asked us if we had more fun in BFA or Legion, and I had to bite the bullet, and I had to go, look, man, Legion, I will happily say, was objectively the better expansion.
Sure.
Like, but if I'm actually honest, at this stage in the game, I'm having more fun playing BFA, and it's probably because of War Mode. Like, because I just really enjoy that. Like today, I logged in because there was an incursion on. I just took a little moment out of writing a script, just a tiny little moment. Saw there's an incursion, logged in, and instantly got a guild group together to go and do the incursion, to do world quests. I never did that in Legion. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think the excitement with Legion, what Legion was very good at was introducing a lot of new things, such as Mythic Plus, which was very, very good. And I think a lot of the disappointments with BFA is that BFA hasn't really brought that, like, not as much of good new things. Yeah, the artifact weapons were also very great. People loved them with the new appearances, and you could unlock so many different tints for doing different things in the game. So we're missing the artifact weapon, but the game overall kind of still has the same things. Like, it still has Mythic Plus, it still has a lot of other things that made Legion good with collections and all that kind of things. So unless you're very focused on specific raiding or questing and the content being slower now, I feel like I'm enjoying the game quite similarly. The only thing I don't like is the Azerite system, where I can't really grind to target certain Azerite pieces that I want, except they kind of did introduce that now in the end when they added that vendor. But that's something that I was missing for a long time because I felt like I want a specific piece. I've looked through every raid boss and none of them drop that trait that I wanted. And that was pretty frustrating. Not being able to find pieces of gear, pieces of Azerite that I want in the game, in the content that I do. But yeah, I don't know. Am I happy with the Titan Residuum system? I mean, I'm happy it's there. Could there be more? Probably. What exactly? I'm not sure. Another thing is also that Azerite gear has very boring transmog. So it doesn't feel special.
Right. Like
Yeah,
you don't
that's
have
true
all
too.
the lore books,
Yeah.
you don't have the visual progression, you don't have things like, balance of power or the class campaigns tying in. So it doesn't feel as complex that way. And also, the pacing, obviously, Legion's pacing at this point had a lot more stuff going on.
Yeah.
And, Season 2 has some stuff, but I feel that at this point in Legion, we already had, the raid, and then we had Karazhan. And just Legion had all these great assets, like Karazhan just really hyped you up. It's recognizable. Then we had Trial of Valor. We had the Suramar quest line, and everyone loves Suramar. But yeah, we should talk about some things coming in Season 2. Blizzard, Ian actually made this really good post. I thought it was actually very good and not fluffy about practical things people wanted to know about Season 2, which we should probably get into first, such as what's going on with the 5th artifact ring. There was a lot of confusion that people didn't know what actually got the 5th ring, and it's not everything. Basically, the 5th ring, you get, it's only on 370 gear from Season 2 sources, so dazar'alor, not Uldir, Season 2 PvP, your old PvP gear doesn't just get a ring, same with Mythic Plus.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you class as current gear, basically.
Right. They did say that Emissary and Assault Loot will become spec-based, which made a lot of people happy. And that artifact knowledge will be increasing again, but only go up 10 levels, and then it will stop again. So you can speculate if that means anything, are we getting another patch in 10 weeks? Because, it stopped with 8.1, so we're getting 8.15 or some 8.2
We did
thing,
say 8.15 in March, so maybe.
Yeah. So, yeah, because the dazar'alor, that all ends, all the wings, and I think at the start of March, so then 8.15 would make sense to be in March after,
But then we've sat on no artifact knowledge increase for about a month now.
Yeah.
8.1 though.
Yeah,
it is true.
Yeah.
But I think we all accept that 8.1 came a lot later than it was supposed to.
Yeah.
It was, I feel like maybe they were trying an experiment, maybe they said, hey, Legion was too fast, let's see if we can take things a little slower, and then they move the knob.
Yeah.
Right?
There's that, but when Ian announced it, when he actually announced the date of it in BlizzCon, he literally apologized for it. He went, this isn't ideal, we wanted it to be sooner, but it's going to be. So I think they meant for it to be sooner. So I think that we're catching up on it a little bit at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, as far as traffic-wise, I mean, I saw a lot of people lose interest in November going into December for WoW, and then it sort of evened out over the holidays, which is interesting because usually people don't really log into the site on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and around New Year's. But the traffic was relatively the same, and it's been picking up a little now with the PTR in January. So it's just interesting. In spite of people saying there was nothing to do, they actually still were doing stuff in WoW collectively at the same rate or a little bit more than in November.
Our guild is kicking.
Yeah.
I know that means literally nothing, but it's purely
sample
anecdotal.
size.
But yeah, our guild is always people on there, sort of chilling out, hanging out. We've got about 5,000 people in our guild. In fairness, there's always going to be some.
Oh wow, that's a lot of people.
But no, it's great. It's a lovely guild. Yeah, but I haven't noticed it personally. But that's not to say that people aren't, getting bored or whatever.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at from this trend of how many people use Wowhead? Oh, actually, it's kind of the same or a little higher. That's interesting, I guess.
When was the hive mind?
That was late December, around the time Winter Veil came out, and yeah, that was actually a really popular period between Winter Veil and the hive mind, and people always log in to get their new toys as well. So, even though it wasn't we don't have our raid and we don't have our dungeon, people were really interested in doing stuff like the Hive Mind and getting their little cute Winter Veil achievements.
Yeah, Hive Mind was great. People loved it. I love those kind of things too.
Yeah. One of the other things, circling back to PvP, we talked about Season 1, and just to recap what's coming in Season 2, there is new Season 2 transmog and Season 2 mounts. I think Annie's going to show some of these on the screen.
Mm-hmm. Just rolling through the transmogs to start with, all the different armor types as well.
Yeah, these are gasp recolors of the Darkshore Warfront transmog, which I'm okay with because I think they look pretty cool. And I really love the Alliance Cloth one. I think that's amazing, especially
so
on a night.
nice.
I don't know why Blizzard put a picture of a male dwarf with a gigantic beard as for the official blog. I'm like, man, like impossible combo. But yeah, I think it's amazing. I don't know why people are hating on them. I think it's cool.
Are those the elite sets? Yeah, those are the gladiator sets.
Yeah, like the elite one has more feathers on it, but I think we're rotating through the normal than the elite one that has more
okay,
detail.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think they still look super cool.
Yeah. So there's also the weapons that match. I think having the Night Elf weapons are really cool because we don't see too many of those, so it's cool having like a elven shield with feathers on it and stuff like that. And then the emo horde of, warglaives and skulls, all that stuff.
And these weapons also match with the transmog for each faction as well. So that one that just passed was very obviously the Alliance one, and this one is very clearly a Horde weapon. So you've got the matching thing going on there as well. Yeah.
Talking about Season 2 mounts, there's the Gladiator Proto-Drake, but for the rest of us, there are new vicious mounts, the War Saber and then the Bone Steed, which are like the hippo equivalents for Season 2, and you earn them much in the same way. And the added bonus is that if you decide to keep doing rated PvP and fill up the bar again, you get a vicious saddle, so you can buy any of the old mounts from like Mob and Warlords and Legion.
People have been asking for that. Like, what are we going to do with our vicious saddles? I wanted the new mount with it. Because they changed the system. But yeah, we have the gladiator mount also here, the Proto-Drake. And this season was also a Proto-Drake, and the next one is also a Proto-Drake. I find that interesting that there's so many Proto-Drakes. I was hoping for something different this time.
They actually made 7 colors of them. Now it's really easy to recolor a mount and not use it, but it's interesting that they are actually using all these Proto-Drakes.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that will tie into the lore in any way, because I mean the seasonal rewards the Season 1 rewards I thought were throwbacks to the Warlords, like the Magcar Orc. So like the hippo reminded me of the River Beast and Warlords, and the Cleft Hoof reminded me obviously of the Cleft Hoofs, and that was like the Warlord orcs are coming from Draenor to us. So I thought it was all Warlords theme, and now this season is like the Darkshore Warfront theme. So the Proto-Drake doesn't really seem to fit that vibe.
Are you predicting a Dragon Isles? Are you dropping a Dragon Isles prediction there for a few years? Is that what you're doing? Just casually sprinkling it. I don't know with all these I just don't know. What does it mean?
But yeah,
says the person with the data mining at her fingertips. I just don't even know what it could mean. I don't know.
Here's a dragon. I don't know. Another one.
Look at all these dragons. I don't even know. I don't understand. I'm just gonna stroke my cat.
Oh, the cat. What was it called? Morris, was it?
Morris,
yeah.
That's it.
Not to be confused with Maurice.
Who's my hippo mount, yeah.
Let's see, what else is there? There are accessories from PvP for duelist and elite rank, which I'm a little confused about because they don't match the armor sets. They're like the Darkshore retints, but you can get a nice tabard or a cloak from it, so I guess that's cool. But what I think was particularly interesting was that in addition to all these rewards, Blizzard wrote a pretty detailed blog with improvements coming in Season 2 for gearing up. Mm-hmm. They've revealed the whole schedule for the next 25 weeks, and the item level you're getting, the item slot you're getting, and they also introduced an element of choice. So when there's an Azerite piece, you choose between one of 4 Azerite pieces, and if it's not an Azerite piece, a weapon, or trinket, you have 2 slots to choose between, which a lot of people seemed happy with, and I know some Mythic Plus people were asking about that as well, being like, hey, like, it's really cool how they have this choice that they get a reward when they do something. Wouldn't that be cool to apply that to other systems as well?
Mm-hmm. I'm showing a quick view of the first 9 weeks, where you can see the item level is increasing, and it increases up to 400, and then I think it stays the same for at least how many weeks was it? 25 25 weeks. And you can see in week 3, for example, you can apparently choose between legs and wrist. For week 6, you can choose between hand and back. And yeah, you get the choices. Was it 4 choices when there's an Azerite piece?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I immediately zoomed in on was the 25 weeks. Season 1 was 20 weeks. So it's probably not an error that they listed this as 25 weeks. And then that gets me thinking, okay, 25 weeks from January 22nd is, mid-July. Does that mean that we're getting season 3 and the Ashara raid on, for example, July 16th, 2019? So I'm like already trying to plan out when all these patches are coming between when, artifact knowledge is stopping and starting, and how many weeks we're going to be earning season 2 gear. And then when we get this, PvP announcement with like the 2 MDI seasons, I'm like, oh, like if there's 2 MDI seasons, the next MDI season could start in like July, the second half of the year. So I'm trying to guess what the upcoming schedule all is through this.
So mid-July.
Does that seem? I think it makes sense. What do you guys think?
I think it makes sense. What do you guys think?
Well, speaking as a pro PvPer, it makes a big difference to me. No, honestly, and this is the thing, because I'm so like unfamiliar with how PvP seasons usually work, because like I say, this is the only season I've ever paid literally any attention to it at all. Like my entire experience of PvP seasons before now was waiting for them to end so I could spend my marks of honor that I got from doing world quests on like transmog sets.
Oh,
that was literally it. That's all I ever did.
Same.
But this season I've been like taking part thoroughly and like wholeheartedly and enjoying it, and I really like the changes to the gearing system on it. My rank didn't get high enough last season for me to actually get any decent eye levels on my gear, but I got all the transmogs and stuff, and that was really cool.
That's the important thing,
was,
right?
Embarrassingly upgrades on my raid gear as well, and it was awesome. So yeah, but as for the 25-week season, they always make a big point of not syncing up like the season with raid releases and things like that, don't they? That's what they say.
But that's what they're starting to do now, right?
Yeah, always, exactly. Yeah.
Especially when they're like,
like,
esports.
This whole 77-day thing for the patch releases, that's not on purpose. And you're like, come on, man. Come on. And like, if you walked into Blizzard HQ now, the first thing you'd see was a whiteboard like saying 77 days, stick to it. It's not WoD anymore, guys.
Plus, I remember it felt super weird that 8.1 had all the class changes, and then the season was going on.
A
it was like,
lot
oh,
of
look, our meta has changed.
PvPers were not happy about that because there were tons of changes, class changes in the middle of a season, and their reasoning was that they want to change the season when there's a new raid tier to like sync it up properly in terms of item level. So I mean, with that being said, I think it would make sense that the 25 weeks is probably the amount of time we're waiting for the next real raid.
And that's right after July 4th, which is when the US is on holiday, so it makes sense that it's, I don't know. I think we're going to get the Ashara raid on July 16th.
That's so specific. I love it.
No, I googled Wowhead. I was like, no, I didn't Google Wowhead. I went to Google, and I was
25 weeks from now.
25 weeks after 22nd, and Google, not Wowhead, was like July 16th. So I was like, oh. Okay.
Well, does that mean you think that 8.2 is going to hit in like June?
No, I think 8.2 is going to hit in May, and then the raid, which is not 825, but like the weird midpoint thing, is going to hit in July.
Okay.
And May is like when college people are finishing up their finals, so they can get people
ready
when they
for
have
raiding.
Yeah. Give people enough time to adjust to whatever, crazy Azerite changes are coming in 8.2, because that whole system's getting a revamp, and people can readjust and find the new thing to obsess about and farm over just in time for the raid. So,
I mean, people are saying that's 6 months of raid in chat, but I mean, you've got the Covenant of Storms, in between as well,
right.
And presumably maybe there'll be maybe that big epic dungeon will come with 8.2 as well.
Yeah, so my guess is that you get the Crucible of Storms in like, I don't know, March, April, and then you get the Mekkatorque in say May-ish, maybe late May, and then you have the raid early July to stagger it out.
And that's a 10-boss dungeon. I mean,
Yeah.
and like when Karazhan came out, it took me a couple of hours to get through that the first time.
Oh,
in,
yeah.
like in a group. Because my group were really letting me down, man. They were holding me back.
It's always
Thanks.
everyone else's fault, right?
Always.
Yeah, totally.
Always. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I understand
It's
that.
my fault.
No, of course not.
It's always someone else's fault, and you always have to tell them. Don't forget.
Yeah.
Always tell people when it. Don't do that. Don't be that.
Otherwise, how would they
Don't
know?
be
How
that
would they
bad.
learn?
How will they be better at the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciated the discussion on this, so I can gather my notes and refine them, and then write a post being like, "Here's my speculation on when I think things are coming."
Yeah,
and
like
if I look alarmed, I put, "Don't eat this." No, bad cat. He's trying to eat my new mouse.
Oh, no.
So tasty.
Our cat has just started breathing again.
Yeah,
I know this is
Wait,
like,
really?
because we thought it stopped breathing, but then I pressed down on it really hard, and I don't hang on.
Don't
can you
do
hear
that
this?
with a real cat.
Can you hear that? It's like, hang on, I just want to show you.
Is it like purrs, like growling or purring? I can't tell if it's that.
Like
or
its
staring at
little
me.
tummy goes up and down. It's got a little motor in it which makes it breathe. Sorry, this is
That's
like so
actually adorable.
inappropriate. Like, but yeah, that's what it is. It's so great.
Right, Paul's just staring at the screen like I am so.
Oh, now it's just done a poo on me.
Too real now.
Yeah.
That's too real.
Reminds me of those dolls. I didn't have one, but I had friends who had when I was a little kid. These little dolls that actually pee and poo. And like you can feed them. You feed them with like a little mixture, a special mixture that you give the baby, and then you change its diaper as well.
No, that was high school sex ed. That you had to take home this doll and it would like cry. It was really heavy and it would cry on cue.
I had
And
one of
if you
those.
didn't address it really
Yeah.
quickly, you would get a bad report when
Oh,
you brought
really?
it back to class on Monday. So you had to have good response time and making the baby not cry. And if its head wobbled, you would be like penalized for putting it at risk. And
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
A friend and I, we did like a handoff like every couple of hours over the weekend. It's like, do you want the baby now? It's like, all right.
I think
I
it
went-
was
I
like,
really do feel
I
like an
created this
adult
like
now.
straight
I
jacket.
went to school in Swansea. All the kids in my school just had babies.
Yeah. Real baby.
Right, it's just easier.
Real
Just saves
babies.
time.
Those of you who
I
don't
set
know
up
what
this
Swansea
crazy
is, it's
straitjacket
a town in
thing.
Wales.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It's very
It's
nice.
very nice.
Yeah, I put my baby in a straitjacket type thing, so its head couldn't wobble and give me points off. And then I put it in this high chair, and I put the key to make it stop crying like balanced in it. So I just had to like nudge it into place, and then
Just to be
Oh, so
very
you
clear, we're
cheated?
talking about the fake baby still, yeah?
yeah, it was a fake baby.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh god.
Wow. I
Poor
want a
fake
Khadgar
babies.
alive doll. But you have
A
to
Khadgar
keep him alive
doll?
and he poos himself. I'd pay money for that.
Oh,
That was
what
cool.
about
I'd pay-
those
I'd pay
dolls?
for it in gold.
Blizzard.
Like Barissa's creepy children, if they were those dolls, like the weird adults that were like, yeah, her twins. That would
Bring
be a
out
creep.
a range of like
oh my God, yeah.
Tyrande and Malfurion poop yourself dolls, and like a small percentage of the takings go towards the MDI.
Oh
Like-
wow, that's brilliant.
It'll be the biggest prize pool ever, and yet anyone who wins it will be slightly embarrassed.
Just
So it's like a double-edged sword.
As far as things you can collect in WoW, because that was in our notes, we have some new things besides Brightpaw. I can't sit up straight. We have some new things that are not PvP coming in Season 2 that we wanted to highlight. Annie loves mounts and pets, so do I. So
Mhm.
this is always a fun part of the show for us.
Mhm.
We wanted to highlight, there's not a ton of mounts, but they're really awesome ones. There is the Gmod up first, which is a drop from Mekkatorque, and we wanted to highlight this because everyone thinks that Mekkatorque is an Alliance character, so only the Horde can get this mount. That's not true. The Alliance transform into Horde-looking characters, so both factions can get this mount.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
if you have done the war campaign, you're like, hey, I've seen this model. It is the Gallywix mount that he uses that looks really cool and garish, but is always breaking down because Goblin engineering has problems and that runs out of Azerite. But, you know, Mekkatorque has the last laugh, and you can now loot this mount in his encounter, which I think is also cool because it has like a neat narrative thread how it's been built up through the war campaign as this like gnomish versus goblin engineering show off, and you've
I love it.
Mhm. Yeah, I love it
Or-
too.
yeah
The new war campaign, Snake Point 1, is so good. They're so cool. Have you seen the mount special on that yet? Do we know what that is?
I am opening
because I'm assuming
right
it's
now.
just like the same as the Light Forged one from like Legion, but there's that bit in the Horde War campaign where he's like Gallywix has powered it up, and he like launches this huge Azerite barrage onto the Alliance, and there's like this huge blue circle that goes around it, and like all these missiles. Dude, if that is the mount special for that mount, count me in. It's the only mount I'll ever ride. Be amazing.
I am rewatching the Wowhead video, and I don't think it's the blue. It doesn't have a jacket, but it does. The arm of it does have that electrical current. But yeah, it just sort of does like this type of thing. There's a video on Wowhead, and there's a view in 3D model button, so you can actually see the mount doing it, not just me waving my arms around, pretending to be a mechanical mount.
Oh, how cool would it be? How cool would it be is because it's Gallywix's mount. As you're riding it round, you get Gallywix whispers to you.
Oh.
And he like just says sassy stuff like,
"Yep,
I'm Gallywix," or I
wouldn't it be cool?
I don't know. He's like, you know, yeah, and you pick some herbs or something. He's like, yeah, you can sell those herbs on the auction house. Get you a good price.
How to make gold.
Gnome NPCs are like, oh, like, well, you're using a mount that's like trash. I bet it's gonna fall apart. And,
yeah, totally. It'd be awesome.
The engineering trainers are like, are you sure you want to be using this mount? Like,
yeah, and like gnomes just literally laugh at you as you walk past them.
Yeah,
that'd be so cool.
That would be cool.
Blizz, there's still time to put that in. Yeah.
There is still time. There's a few other mounts which are more of a recap, as we have shown them before. But as a reminder, we have the very cool mount from Jaina, the Water Elemental. Let me see if I can get a picture of it. And another mount from obtaining glory of the Raider of the new raid. And
this one might be boring for Horde, but for the Alliance, it's the first time they can get this species of flying mount. So Alliance pretty happy with the Wind Reaver, I think. And yeah, Jaina mount's awesome too. What I think is really neat about the Jaina mount is that in some interview, Blizzard said that the statue, which needs to come out, which I don't know why it hasn't come out yet, that the base of the statue with the water splashy stuff is meant to resemble the top of the water elemental mount that she's riding in the raid. So I don't know. I really like this sort of like cohesion we're getting between the raid and the story and then other products.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. It's really cool.
Yeah, I think it looks really cool.
Because I was pretty sad about having to take out Jaina, but I'm feeling a bit better about it now.
A little
You're
bit.
gonna get
if you get the mount.
No, not my queen, my queen. I'm not even touching a hair on her. That is a nice mount. Yeah, I'll do it.
She does get away.
Oh, and this is also on Mythic, so yeah.
It's a guaranteed drop, right, for Mythic?
Yeah, guaranteed on Mythic, but you know, there probably is a secret phase because the dungeon journal is suspiciously like, oh, there are no changes on Mythic in the last phase, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. So it's probably gonna be one of those really difficult Mythic phases.
Do you think it will like just be a huge water elemental? Just like
that'd be awesome.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Because like that, the kind of location of that fight changes a couple of times.
Yeah.
Like in the fight that we know, wouldn't it be awesome if suddenly you realize that you were rising up in the air, suddenly you realize you're almost on top of a water elemental, and then just as you're going, oh, what's about to happen? Boom! You're in the water elemental, underwater boss. Suck on that. And the internet goes wild because that's exactly what they wanted.
The last
we love water levels, right?
The last phase, though, for normal heroic is called Daughter of the Sea. So it would be interesting if the Mythic only phase had some throwbacks to the cinematic. Like maybe you go into this weird, like, you know, spirit, like, you know, ferryman realm, or like Jaina starts raising stuff up out of the ocean. Just something in like sort of like this underwater, not underwater, but like underworld transition with Jaina's spirits, because it would be a nice parallel actually to like the Bwansambi spirits that the Horde has. It's like, well, this is Jaina's kind of, you know, spirit mystical realm thing we're seeing now on the screen.
Oh my god, yeah, what if the last phase is like Beat Saber but to Daughter of the Sea?
Beat Saber. Oh, wow.
Oh, that's actually Jaina's theme. Sorry. Both. Well, mash it up. Mash it up. It'd be amazing.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
Underwater, obviously.
Then if you get a VR headset, you get like the special VR mode of it.
You know, we
get completely immersed.
Imported their song into Beat Saber, so hey, wow, you have to keep up with League of Legends and put some stuff in there.
Seriously.
For real.
Do it. Wow, you've stolen all our other ideas for BFA. You might as well steal that. Make it happen.
With the new mounts, there's actually one more mount, which is a little bit of a question mark because we're not sure where or how to obtain it. So it looks like this, and we are kind of suspecting that it's going to be some sort of PvP reward because of the armor that it's wearing. But do we know anything else about it?
The tooltip says rated arena or rated battleground victory, but that sounds maybe it's like a random reward. I can't imagine you just get it if you do one game. That would be strange. But yeah, it's the Reigns of the Onyx War Hyena. Originally from Vol'dun, these dark-furred hyenas have been bred for the front lines of war, and yeah, that's all we know about it. It's like the kind of evil, spiky version of the mount we associate with the Volpera.
It's interesting because we never really had any other kind of mount rewards in the PvP system. Like we've had the seasonal one where you would, in the past, play enough to get a vicious saddle and then you can go and buy it from the vendor. We've had, way back in the past, we had those honor points that you'd collect to buy something from the vendor, which I think now you can just buy with the vicious saddles
we have
too.
the prestige mount, like the armored unicorn and the different colors of it.
That is true. So it sounds like it's going to be something new, a new system. Like you said, maybe a random reward, maybe, I don't know, maybe a new rating cutoff. No idea.
Interesting. Yeah. So we will keep you posted on that. The PvP coverage has been really popular on Wowhead, so I think that's promising. I'm sure people will leave a comment being like, I got this, yay.
It's mostly just us going there, refreshing and going like, what is PvP? How do I PvP?
Wait, it's the inspiration. People saw Tally play PvP, right? And now they're inspired. They want to learn, so they want to get all the rewards too. We also have some other collectibles to show you guys. We've got some battle pets. I'm not sure where they are from, though. Do we know that, Perk?
Yeah, so 3 are from Conclave of the Chosen. The frog is mythic only. The Paku and Akunda one are all difficulties. And I think it's cool. It's sort of representing all the aspects. And then the Tiki mask is from a recipe that enchanters get from the Rastakhan encounter.
Oh. Enchanter, by the way.
Yeah, which is really cool because we had the model for that mask, it was like the very first build of BFA Alpha. And they had the pet data mine then, and it was a placeholder. So it's cool when you see proof that Blizzard thinks about this months and even years in advance and how these pieces fit together. It's like, oh, this thing from January 2018 is actually now a cool pet from the second raid. It's like, this is proof that they actually plan things out way in advance as to
it's not decided the night before.
Right.
It's planned in advance.
I just dropped enchanting from all my characters as well.
Oh really?
I couldn't justify it anymore. I was like, because I'd stopped disenchanting stuff because scrapping it to get the expulsum is more valuable to me.
Yeah, I was never a fan of that you have to choose either or.
Exactly. And I used to just scrap trinkets that I didn't need to for the guaranteed expulsum. I was like, you make so much money out of making bags, and I have tailoring on pretty much all my characters, and I'm like, I'm not disenchanting anything, so it's completely pointless having enchanting. So I literally just took herbalism. I dropped enchanting and took herbalism instead.
Well,
sad.
We covered it last week on Wowhead Weekly, but the tools of the trade in 815.
They're cool.
Yeah, but there's nothing for herbalism. It's all the crafting professions. So
time to change back.
I mean, maybe I'll swap at the end of the expansion when I'm rolling in my millions of gold.
Oh no, and enchanting's really cool because there's this golem and it looks super weird and steampunky and culturesque. And with enchanting, part of the perks is that you get to tame these weird golems and have them fight for you. So you could have this kind of seaweed harvest golem, Tide Sage golem following you around. So that's kind of cool. if you're alliance though. Horde has like a, I don't know, like a Loa golem that follows you around, but yeah, getting ahead of ourselves with 815.
Yeah, there was a
Yeah, you
slight
went really
sound
low
thing
then,
that went
Perk. Sorry,
low,
we didn't
but
hear what you said.
Oh,
it was for you guys too.
No,
I
you're
thought it
totally
was
back
only
now.
for me.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So I turned you up from the stream, so I think they
Oh,
heard you anyways. But yeah, you're back now. So
I was just talking about how cool the enchanting perk is in 815 because you get to tame these golems, and the alliance one is all like steampunk tight stage Kulturis. And the Horde one is this golden Loa thing that follows you around. So
But
I think
presumably they only work in Zandalar and Kultiris, so
Yeah.
really you're only going to get use out of them for about half a patch until like 8.2 launches and we're all in Najata.
right. I mean, we don't know anything about them. It's just that we have the names of what the things do.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Doesn't the dual crafting one allow you to take gems out of equipment?
Yeah.
yeah.
How cool is that? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
The tailoring one lets you have more cloth. There's a bunch of things you can interact with. Like there's, I don't know, herb. There's like special gem nodes, and I think herb things, and leatherworking has some mount. I don't know what the.
Well, sorry, I know you talked about this last week, but the tailoring one lets you find more cloth, which I feel like that's a secondary effect. I feel like maybe because it's lots of like cloth through time and stuff like that. So I've got a feeling. Do you think maybe they'll let you use like cloth from other expansions and turn it into current cloth, or something like that?
That'd actually be a good way to encourage people to do things from other expansions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But anyway, it's just like I love that stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I feel like professions became.
Really cool... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like professions became less valuable once they removed the enchants that we get from them. There's no real reason to have a profession if you're trying to raid or anything. Like, you're not missing out by not having a profession. So I do like that they're trying to make them a little bit more interesting with these what is it, tools of trade?
Tools of the trade. Yeah.
Tools of the
I
trade.
always call
Yeah.
them tricks of the trade because that's the rogue ability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But hopefully we can get some more useful and fun things. I feel like the only profession that really was or has been fun forever is engineering.
Yeah,
I get that.
Like with the boost, what is it called? The rocket boost, I think it might be called. I mean, gliders are now something that they can create for everybody, but it used to be like a back enchant, I think, for engineers, and just a lot of other fun things too. Nitro boost, that's it. Nitro
yeah,
boost.
you get access to all like new mounts and stuff and toys.
Goggles. Oh yeah,
like
those really cool goggles.
And there's just a lot of flavor associated with it. Legion was really good at having lots of quests to make every profession feel intricate, but there's just so much more with engineering. Like, you've got like all the gnomish lore and then all the goblin lore, and like you have teleporters that take you to special cities that are based on, you know, different types of engineers, and like the goggles are unique, and even the Azurite for the engineers just sounds all fun with little acronyms, and yeah, it definitely has more flavor than the other ones. I also like the quests in 815. We don't have them yet, but I was trying to do some broadcast text magic, and so far the tailoring one seems really interesting. You help this Nightborn go through different phases, and like in the infinite time ways, and there's 5 different versions of her, if she was like a withered or a demon hunter or like an infinite corrupted shade or the Grand Magistrix. So I think I'm looking forward to seeing the quest, because Legion was so in depth with the quest, and BFAs felt very like not
but most
very
people
fast.
hated those quests in Legion though.
Right.
Like on their alts and stuff. I
Yeah,
liked them.
on
It was
alts,
one of the things I
yeah.
remember people complaining about in Legion a lot was the profession quests.
Because it limited how much you could level.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
And that was annoying on alts. It was okay and fun as a first experience on my main, but whenever I wanted to level the other professions to get the achievement to max all professions, it was a pain, especially when some of them required you to run a dungeon. And I felt like that was difficult with my character that is usually very bad geared, and I'm going to have to ask friends for a favor, and it's difficult if you're trying to get all the professions up.
I think the dungeons were too extreme, but I think that having the quest to add more flavor was actually pretty interesting. For example, I thought it was really cool how with Inscription you could find the author who wrote the steamy romance novels for engineering. You learned the lore of like Blingtron and how who created the Blingtron module, and you went back and you found that guy's like abandoned notes, and I think stuff like that just adds to the world and makes it feel personal and gets people excited looking for clues in it. So I hope these 815 things bring some of that back.
Mm-hmm.
Just wrapping up collectibles quickly, just so everyone in the chat knows. Wrapping up our collectibles post, there are 3 titles coming with the raid. Jaina gives you the Hero of dazar'alor on Mythic difficulty. And then the first 100 Alliance guilds get the Famed Conqueror, and Horde guilds get Famed Defender. And I'm curious what the Hall of Fame balance is going to be like now that the racials aren't... there's not going to be any racial imbalance. I mean, I assume there will still be more Horde guilds because more people are playing Horde, but there shouldn't be an issue of like, oh, this fight's easier to do with this racial because literally everyone has the same racial on Jaina.
Yeah. At this point, it's gone too far, or too many years of Horde just being dominating, that it will continue being like that.
Oh yeah, just because all the top guilds
they're already there, right? Like if you're trying to start a new raiding guild, you have more chance of finding players on Horde side, because people who are looking to raid usually go to the Horde side, knowing that's where, you know, there's more likely to find a guild that can actually push.
I thought it was hilarious with the Mythic Dungeon Invitational exhibition where the Night Elves are really dominant, and apparently Night Elves are really good for reaping, because it's like everyone's like Horde, 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 and it's actually like, whoa, like, you know, you probably won't roll Alliance just to get your Mythic Plus record, but that's really cool how, you know, Shadow Meld is really good for this exhibition match, and people are going crazy with the skips.
Wait, can you avoid the 20% completely if everyone's a Night Elf?
I need to look at it, but JB was basically saying that Night Elves are awesome with reaping, and you can do creative with it. So if not avoiding it, you could position things better.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Last week he was analyzing how good the Kulturist and Zandalari racials are, and he was saying that the knockback for Kulturist was could be good in Mythic Plus, but with the way reaping was, like, Night Elves would be like super amazing, so you wouldn't consider being Kulturist for Mythic Plus. You would go Night Elf instead if you were Alliance.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Before we move into the raid, I think Sass was typing to remind people that we have a giveaway going on and a Q&A. We have 2 pets we're giving away. You enter by typing in the phrase Belle's second channel, all one word, no space. And,
look at that. Wowhead is joining the giveaway.
Stupid. That's so dumb. I mean, obviously Bell came up with it. It's his channel. But, like, yeah, I mean...
You can do a video on this, being like, oh, man, they did this giveaway and I got, like, 10 subs. Yeah. And then if you have any questions about what we're talking about, or for the guest, or anything, we can even ask about the cat. Oh, my God, Great Paws is sleeping here. Oh, my God, that's a miracle. You can message Sass, and he will compile them, and we'll answer them at the end of the show.
Mm-hmm. That's a good reminder.
It's gonna be good with the transition as we move more into, like, dazar'alor.
Because we were talking about races, and the reason why that is relevant here is because the raid is made up of bosses, some that are shared for the Horde and the Alliance, and some that are specifically for only one side. But that doesn't mean that if you're on the other faction that you won't experience them. Instead, what happens is that you sort of go through a flashback and you play as the opposite faction. And as you play the opposite faction, you also get the racial of that race that you've been swapped to. So that's why it's interesting with the talk on the racials, how we will now be experiencing the opposite faction. And the question then was, would that make a difference in terms of world races? But yeah, the Horde is dominating too much, I think, for it to really affect anything. But it's still an interesting topic, for sure.
At the very least, people won't be like, oh, you know, like, I need that arcane torrent dispel. Like, that's so much better. Like, I know for Zool, that was really good. And there shouldn't be a situation where people are like, oh, it's unfair that one faction had a racial that really was shining and I didn't get it. So now it's like, well, everyone has it now.
It is interesting that none of the Alliance races automatically change to Blood Elf. If you're talking about Arcane Torrent and how much you want it and how much it's good, if it was that situation, like, there's a couple of races that change to Blood Elf if the race they're changing to wouldn't have that class. So there's a couple of classes that change to Blood Elf, but there's no alliance race that automatically changes to Blood Elf. Am I right? Because in PTR humans, but that's different now.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chart, and only Demon Hunters turn into Blood Elves.
Yeah, so you actually, because I was thinking that as well. I was thinking, oh well, maybe we'll have races.
Oh wait, Gnome. I think Gnome Monk is a Blood Elf.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, it's like severely limited. You can't have as many. You won't have as many Blood Elves in your raid as a Horde raid will have.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like. So it's not a true kind of representation in that respect, and you kind of feel like they've probably done that on purpose. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just gonna be interesting though. It should get people complaining less about balance. Hopefully, like even if someone has like one more Blood Elf in the raid, that still sounds better than like, oh well, we have no Blood Elves and we couldn't do this strat. But yeah, I also feel that the way it's been messaged over the past few months has been really confusing, where it's been like, oh, you know, a Horde only boss and Alliance only boss and like 2 different stories. Because it's like, no, it's actually, you all have the same bosses and you transform, so you actually all get the same story. It's like, it's sort of the opposite, I feel, of what Blizzard has been saying.
With the possible exception of the first 3 bosses, because they're the same boss but with different skins, but they do actually take place in different parts of the setting as well.
Yeah.
So am I right in thinking we haven't tested the Horde part of that on PTR yet? So maybe there's like more trash or something on one of the sides?
Yeah, so as far as I know, the first boss are paladins, and they're identically the same, but their abilities sound different. Then the second and third boss have the order swapped. So the monk-mage duo, again, same names, but they just have different sounding abilities. And Grong is the most interesting because the Horde fight him as like the angry ape, and then all of his abilities I think are nature-based, and then when he comes back as like this undead icky ape for the Alliance, his abilities are shadow damage, but they're all fundamentally the same. So that's the one that has like the most difference, and then there's some narrative reasons why he's an ape versus an undead ape, but that's sort of what the changes are. It's not like, oh, you know, Alliance can't fight Jaina, you know, or the Horde can't fight Rastakhan, like all the
totally. But what I mean is, what I mean is, if you look at the map of the raid on a Horde player, on a Horde character and then an Alliance character, those first 3 bosses actually happen in different parts of the map, depending on whether you're Alliance or Horde as well. Yeah. So I wonder if that will have an effect on how quick it is to get through it. In terms of like,
there might be a slight difference
navigating the terrain and stuff like that to get to each fight.
Yeah, I mean, of course, like the early bosses are always, you know, it's like, oh, we one-shot Talik and then we seven-shot. But I mean, it would be interesting if there was, if there actually was like a terrain issue or some trash pack that one raid had that the other faction didn't have to really mess things up. But you know, I guess we'll see. I think it's good Blizzard is experimenting with this though and thinking of ways to maybe remove some of the faction racial imbalance by just having everyone kind of be the same.
Yeah,
were some bosses in different orders for the 2 factions?
Yeah, just the second and third.
Second and third.
So,
okay.
Yeah, so it's like the Horde fights this ape Grong. They kill him, then they fight a Alliance Monk Mage duo, while the Alliance, you know, fight these Horde Monk Mage protectors, and then they have to deal with this undead ape that's now been turned against them. So
what I love is that what that means, like for how the raid works canonically.
Yeah.
Is because like what that means is all those fights are happening at the same time as the Alliance attack, and the Horde kill Grong. But by the time the Horde kill the boss after Grong, in their timeline, Alliance have killed the undead Grong, and then the 3 bosses leading up to Rastakhan.
Yeah.
And then the Horde catch up. So, like, canonically, they spend, like, as long killing, like, the Paladins as the Alliance
kill 3.
4 bosses.
Oh, 4 is it?
Like, in the timeline of the raid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's meant to show that they were unprepared with how the whole war campaign is them being lured out by this.
That's because they suck.
Oh.
I feel like we have a complete Alliance representation here. I feel kind of bad for the Horde now.
We're that like 10% Alliance players with the remaining group of them.
I do agree that, yes, there isn't that much of a difference then if you are Alliance or Horde, because you will pretty much have the same raid anyways. But I think those small differences will still make you feel like you're on a different like in a different place in a way. Like I remember back when I did ICC and moving left for gunship and then suddenly realizing that I'm moving right when I'm on the horde side was a huge thing. Like I felt so confused, like what, am I going this way now? And just having like a slight direction change, and I feel like in this raid there's gonna be a bigger difference than that, like in terms of how the bosses are introduced, and maybe it will still feel epic and still feel like this is the Alliance side and this is the Horde side.
Also,
I
like
think for
height
someone
differences.
I think for someone who like follows the lore really closely as well, it's kind of weird because like it's gonna feel weird fighting Rastakhan as a Horde player.
Yeah.
It's gonna feel weird fighting like Mekkatorque and Jaina as Alliance players.
I don't want to do
and
this.
I'm down with all that, man. I play Horde and Alliance, and when I'm on my Horde characters, I'm like, yeah, kill the Alliance, let's destroy them, paint the skies red with their blood. Skies, yeah, whatever. There's so much of it. And like when I'm on the Alliance, I'm exactly the opposite. So when I'm playing as a Horde character, I'll be all about killing Mekkatorque and Jaina. But when I'm doing it on my Alliance characters, it'll feel weird. Like,
well, then you have the race change, right? So then maybe you'll feel like you're a Horde character.
I will know that the character that I'm playing as, even if like they are a Horde character in that moment, I'm still playing as Mivanwi, my human like mage, and it will just feel a bit weird.
No,
like,
I agree.
It won't. Like I'm expecting to feel weird though.
Oh, me too.
I don't know. I'm really excited for it. I feel like because I haven't really experienced something like that, and it'll just like really, I don't know. I think it's super cool.
I think I'll feel that with a Jaina fight.
Yeah, they're taking the transmog, and if you have a faction-specific transmog, it's going to change to the opposite faction. So you really won't even look like your character. Like if your favorite transmog is like the Warfront transmog, it's like, oh, I'm not wearing this beautiful Night Elf thing. I'm wearing all this spiky Horde Warfront armor.
But I'm used to not looking like my character because the coin of many faces is. Because you hit the coin of many faces before like a raid starts, and you're always hoping for that topless male blood elf in his pants. Like that's what that's when you know you've hit gold. Is when you get like the naked male blood elf, and you're like, boom, we're ready for raid, boys.
Maybe this little switcheroo function is Blizz's way of teaching us all empathy. And you know, because when the end times come, and when Azeroth, you know, is going to go kaput, or whatever happens to Azeroth, we're going to have to stick together, right?
What, a Horde Alliance? Like Ebony and Ivory, living in perfect harmony. Okay.
I don't know. I think I'll stick with Ashara and Azar. They're good at unity. You don't see the Naga fighting Azoth. They're all together. We're just fighting each other. They're not burning trees or anything. They're just united in their mission. So,
but that's against Sylvanas, right? That's not the whole Horde, right? So maybe it is possible to get along with a Horde, with some of them.
I think there might be some hints to that in the old God Whispers though as well. So
this will be getting to that. I also want to say with the flashback that if you're playing something like, so if you're a gnome and you transform to the Horde side, you're playing a blood elf, so you're suddenly really tall, or a dwarf becomes an orc. So I wonder if people will have this moment of shock of like, new abilities, and I'm just like I'm seeing things differently. Like I'm higher up. Like I wonder if that will lead to any. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think it'd be just like a fun reaction. It's like I'm in this competitive raid and oh my god, the camera's different. What do? I need to adjust.
Well, it's funny, when I used to play Gnome, I never felt like I was small. Like I didn't feel like I was short until I stood next to someone who's like a night elf. Then I was like, oh, okay. So I wonder if you can tell that you're taller.
You're not small. Everyone is just big.
Right? It's like story of my actual life.
Yeah, I mean, you can't tell. And you're like 5'2", right?
Yeah.
I'm 4'11", so yeah, we're like tiny here. So.
Yeah.
We're IRL gnomes.
IRL gnomes,
so
right?
on our screen, you're actually like real size right now.
Exactly.
Yeah. We wanted to touch on the armor and weapon models a little because we think they look a lot better than Uldir. Like 10 times better.
They did, right? Yeah.
Just like if we're highlighting stuff with the raid for the viewers to see how there's new appearances. They look pretty cool. I like Cloth Mythic the best.
Oh, that's the first one that's showing. Perfect timing. But yeah, you have the different colors for the different difficulties, and the Mythic one has that sort of extra smoky effect around it, which makes it look more special, which is cool. It feels like a very warlocky set, actually, is how I feel.
Yeah. it's like the first good cloth set for a while as well.
Imagine being a priest and then looking like this.
Well, I like the Night Elf Warfront one, but I think I like how these are Bond Zombie themed. I think everyone assumed they would just be like golden Zuldazar with like, you know, more gold on it over the quest and dungeon sets. But yeah, I love how they just sort of dived into this. Like it's Zandalari, but it's like, oh, something has gone wrong. Bond Zombie's now in charge. Like our bones are silver, not gold anymore.
So you can see that. So this is the leather set now that's going through, and you have the different difficulties before Mythic that look kind of boring, but then you have the Mythic one that really stands out. And yeah, I think the Mythic ones look really cool.
The male one is still a little bit underwhelming.
For leather or in general?
No, like
male. Sorry, yeah.
Sorry, not as in like...
Okay, wait. You mean this kind of male? There we go.
I know there's only 2 classes that wear it, but like, yeah, I mean, it's on screen now, and it's fine, isn't it? It's fine. It's not fine.
That headpiece is really weird.
It's like highlighting how bad it is because the others are so good.
The other ones are actually great. I really love the other ones. Hunters getting
the mythic plate set is pretty weird as well because it's got like a really lopsided.
Yeah, but it's like they tried. They try to make it look cool at least.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like, well, at least they.
It's like cool in concept. But,
yeah. I think the plate doesn't look too bad. I think
it's asymmetrical too. I think that's always nice when I don't know. I always feel like when it's asymmetrical, it's like, oh, I put effort into this. Like I coded one half differently than the other.
I wouldn't mind, but like alternatives, the non sort of mythic one, the shoulders like are pretty underwhelming on the plate sets. You wouldn't even be able to swap them out or whatever. It's like,
I don't know. I like it. It's kind of sleek and still a bit bony, like reminiscent of Bones. Everything's better than male at this point. It's so depressing.
I'm sorry. There's just so much talk of Bones, and I'm trying so hard. I'm trying so hard not to make any jokes.
Yourself.
Yeah.
Contain yourself.
Yeah, I think that was all the sets there.
How are you about
Yes.
We can talk about the weapons that are surprisingly not like Bones, which we thought were cool.
No!
Going back to Bones. So what classes do you guys play actually?
I play all the classes.
You play all the classes.
Yeah, because I'm such a pro. But that's not even a joke. I do play all the classes. Although I've only got like 9 120s at the moment.
Only?
Like 9.
Only 9, by the way.
Yeah, but my main is always undisputably my disc priest.
Okay, so would you identify yourself mostly with it as a cloth wearer, or do you feel like you're equally everything?
Say again?
Would you mostly be excited for cloth armor, or would you look at everything equally?
That's the first thing I look at.
Yeah, okay.
But to be honest, with my, because I have so many alts, I can only ever have like so many raid ready and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like actually, transmogs are the thing that I do most on my alts, and collecting transmog and stuff. So I get excited about all of the transmogs, like all of the new armor sets and stuff like that. So, but yeah, cloth is definitely the first one I look out for. And you?
I'm a hunter main, so.
Yeah, super happy about this one.
Cool. Yeah, I like the dinosaur bow is cool, at least kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, not the best raid set for male wearers.
Maybe the next one.
And my horde main this expansion has been my shaman, so I've been getting in on the male action as well.
Yeah.
But
fun.
Making it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you can
getting in on the male action.
It's 2019. You know I am a Soldier 76 main. I'm not even. That was just a cheap joke.
We did want to highlight some of the other transmog and unique effect items, though, sort of continuing with the theme that armor is better in dazar'alor than Uldir. Not just the armor sets, but a lot of the weapons do neat stuff, and they reflect the bosses they drop from, which I think it adds some flavor to the lore. So, for example, what's a good example? Oh, yeah, so Opulence, who is the kind of like evil treasure golem, has these boots where if you loot gold, increases your movement speed by 30% for 6 seconds. Mekkatorque has a ton of cool stuff, like these leather gloves, and you move 20% faster while piloting a mount created by an engineer. Opulence has crowns that are like neon pink tiaras, and they create a gem which gives you a little buff. So there's a lot of neat effects that people should keep an eye out for. Even some little set bonuses. Jaina's got 2 items that have a set that gives you frost damage on auto attacks. Rastakhan has a interesting set as well. And all the weapons resemble it as well. So Jaina doesn't have any bone weapons. She's got, Kultura's swords, and Mekkatorque's got a gnomish gun, and Rastakhan has his fang he's always carrying around in the cinematics, and Opulence has a goblet, and Champion of the Light has like Zandalari Paladin transmog. So I think all that stuff's pretty neat, and maybe shows they've learned from Uldir that not everything should look the same, and people want more transmog that is flavored towards the raid, not just like, oh, everything from LFR is purple and everything from normal is neon blue. So I was surprised seeing the attention put into all these different weapons, and I like the little effects. I think they're fun.
Well, that mount speed increase is outrageous.
Yeah, that's actually really good.
Proper good. You want that.
Mm-hmm. And I think the speed buff after looting could also be interesting. If you're going through an old raid or something, where if you're farming transmog, just quickly kill the mob and loot it, run 30% faster for 6 seconds.
Yeah, well, that's your Bear Tartar back again, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's also this interesting offhand, the Fogbreaker Light of the Sea. And it says that it lessens the effect of howling winds while battling Jaina. So I assume if you have more people that have this in the raid, then that can help the fight become easier over time.
Yeah, so it helps with farming and stuff like that, I guess. And it means... Yeah. Because for the last few raids now in WoW, in Legion and going into WoD, it's WoD. BFA.
It's funny because it is compared a lot with WoD.
But we've never done any farming on the final boss. As soon as we're done with that final boss, even on farm nights, if we don't kill the final boss on like our first try, we don't bother with it again. Yeah. And I think that you hear that with a lot of guilds. Like,
wait, is this Gahoon?
Edge guilds as well. They just don't want to farm the final boss of raid because usually the rewards aren't. So anything that the more times you kill it, the easier to kill it becomes. Like that. Yeah. It's going to help with that. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So. I know, I hope this trend continues. I think people were disappointed that Uldir was sort of like, oh, it's going to be related to the theme of the raid. And then it's like, oh, okay. It's sort of Titan-y and neon, and it's all the same. And I don't know. I think it makes the bosses feel more real when you're like, oh, like they dropped their weapon for me, not just like a random like Zandalari thing.
Yeah, totally.
It'd be so weird if Jaina was dropping Zandalari weapons. That would be odd.
Mm-hmm. And Gahoon doesn't drop a higher item level, right? He drops the same item level as everything else.
Yeah, he does, but I think the Azerite pieces, there are like with the zone traits, some of the Azerite is only from Gahoon and Mithrax. Okay. So maybe like the better one is from the end bosses, and he has the tentacle that's like the equivalent of the Cthulhu and Yogg tentacle trinkets. Yeah. But yeah, he didn't have any like mounts or pets or all the weapons were just like, here's a neon weapon in 4 different colors. Enjoy. Yeah. Like, okay. So, also on the topic of dazar'alor, we just posted our Fat Boss guides earlier this morning. They then got promptly buried on the news page by like 4 Blizzard posts. But they're all up. We'll be highlighting them over the next few days. We're super proud of them. They're also going to be doing their video guides as usual. But yeah, they've done a great job with the written guides. They have like gifts and specific tips for all the phases. They'll be doing mythic tips when that comes out. I also think they have a good sense of humor in writing the guides. So like if I pull up the Mekkatorque guide, their description is, High Tinker Mekkatorque is a 3-phase encounter in which the raid must use their excellent social skills to talk to one another and share key information. So yeah, they're just fun to read, even if you are not actually.
They're good boys. They were the first. They were the first like WoW celebrities that we ever met. In real life, like when our channel was, well, it still is small, but it was like even smaller and teeny tiny. We were kind of like invited to Blizzard EU headquarters in Paris, just on a kind of like a creator contact sort of day. And I think the idea was they invited people from different countries, and they invited like one big creator from each country and one like
unknown
one
creator,
pleb like, creator from each country. And we were the pleb creators from the UK. And they were like the big creators. And so we were like on the same plane and the same taxi, and we'd hang out. And we were in Paris, and we were like, we're gonna go we're going out for a meal in Paris. Boys, do you want to come? And they're like, we're going to Burger King. Okay, cool. We'll see you later. And they're just awesome, awesome guys.
So
they're really cool.
I've actually never met them, but I have seen their guides, and like even the spoken guides always have a bit of humor in them. I love it.
Yeah, they do their previews. I feel like some people get them mixed up with the actual guides, but they always do their previews based on the footage, which I know is a super pain for dazar'alor because nothing was tested really well because everything was just buggy. But, you know, they plowed through and got their preview videos up, and then they do the written guides, and then the week when the raid comes out, they do, like, the concise written guides once they've, you know, seen all the hot fixes, because it's like when you get large enough, if you put the guide out and then something is wrong, or if it changes between PTR testing and live, people don't care. They just like rip into you being like, this is wrong. So it makes sense why they, you know, wait to actually see the fights on live before they do the final touches on the video guide.
Yeah, they work so hard.
So, but yeah, new to BFA, they've been doing them since Trial of Valor for Wowhead, and they keep adding little things. So now we've got all these little GIFs. It's not just screenshots. And they've got captions under the GIF. It's super fun. They're just fun to read in general. But yeah, speaking of other stuff, we touched on this before, but just to remind people, also coming, it's not just all like esports and mythic raiding in season 2. It's new steps of the war campaign, which is cool because it's more story, but sad because it reminds people that you're working towards the allied races, but they're still not here.
Still a little bit more to wait.
I know, it's like, what do you need at this point? But yeah, I mean, you basically figure out why you're actually fighting, why the Horde get tricked, why they don't do a great job fending off the Alliance, and then it ends with people getting mad at Sylvanas again. So, you know,
I know, but I mean, it feels so forced because, like, I mean, I feel like that is something that Blizz did drop the ball with. Was the Kultiran Zandalar, like, allied races, totally. Because I was just. The problem is when you have a channel, like you must be the same, you do so much on the PTR, because you have to be able to report on it and stuff like that, that actually when stuff comes on live, sometimes you don't bother with it. So I've never done the Chromie questline on live, because I did it on PTR, and you only ever need to do it once, don't you? So I don't actually have that achievement or anything. So when it came on live, and it's the same with the Vol'jin stuff in the Horde questline.
I've written so much on that. It's just like,
I did it on PTR, but then I only just got around to doing it on live like a couple of days ago. Like, embarrassingly, the quest was there for like months and months. I was like, I'll do this now.
Yeah, I don't even know if the new Vol'jin stuff, like, he's the whole, like, why was Sylvanas?
Exactly.
Is that in 8.1? Is that 8.15? I'm not really sure.
That's a really good point, actually. But and it got to the stage where, like, Talanji's giving this like really epic speech about how they need to come out and like share their awesomeness with the world and make allies and stuff, and everyone in Zandalar is like cheering and going yeah, and you're standing there, the champion of the Horde, and you just saved everyone. They're like yeah. What do you mean you're not going to be an allied race now?
Right.
Like, this is when you're going to do it.
Yeah, this is it. This is the moment.
Yeah.
So
that's going to be 8.15, right? So that's we're expecting that to probably be live in March sometime. So if you're still waiting for the new allied races, you got over a month to wait. Another month to wait.
Unsurprisingly, the survival guide video for season 2 is getting downvote ratioed again because everyone is like, where are allied races? Allied races not in video. So
I mean, that video could like be saying, here's literally everything you ever asked for, and it would still get downvoted.
Yeah.
To be honest.
But I mean, I guess from a technical perspective, people are pretty outraged over the racials, saying that some seem very overpowered, like regenerating. It seems to be like a huge heal, and then meanwhile, the Embrace of Aloha has 6 customization options, and they sound more exciting than Kultura. So I guess it would sort of create havoc if they just unleashed allied races on this raid and nobody was testing them. But then I guess you could argue, well, Blizzard should have been having raid testing with these races all along.
Yeah, I don't buy that. I mean, I and to be honest, I feel like if I'd been in a meeting a year ago when we decided when all like the timeline for all this stuff, And like, yeah, I'd have been after the second raid, after the Zandalar raid, that makes sense. Print it, make it happen, boom. But I feel like in practice that's clearly wrong.
Especially they announced them so early. Like, they announced them before we knew about the Mag'har orcs. And
they did the Zandalari trolls, but not the Kultun humans.
Right, but people were assuming like, oh, you know, like Zandalor's coming. Like, I bet Kulturas is coming. Like, it just was sort of built up. It's like the PR was a little. People were more hyped for those races coming as opposed to the ones that were sort of right in front of them.
Yeah, totally.
Oh yeah, like Zandalari trolls especially. People have been super hyped about them.
Oh, man.
Ever since they were
in
mentioned.
Hindsight, it was the wrong decision. They should have bought them with 8.1, like at the latest. But
and I'm sure not everyone follows along with the nuances of the data, but those Zandalari trolls, like, and Kulturas, like, they were up in the database dressing room, like, day one of BFA, and the Mag'har and Dark Eye still being developed. So there's a sense of like, oh, Blizzard had
them ready
for a really long time, more so than other allied races, and they're just sort of I don't know, sitting around in the data.
Yeah.
But
that's actually a good point. I forgot that they were ready before the others.
Yeah,
it's like, weird that the others became live first.
Yeah, they had Kulturas in the data before we even knew they were going to be an allied race.
Yeah.
Humans and the thin humans and all that
and like, it made sense that they weren't available at the start of BFA because,
of course,
like, we hadn't played through the content or whatever. But I feel like they should have been, instead of Mag'har and Dark Irons, they should have been the ones that we got at the end of the initial war campaign.
Yeah, or even it would make sense to launch them right before the war camp. Even 8-1, like, oh, you know, we've gathered all our forces and we're ready to go into. We're gonna defend the city. Oh, this makes sense that we're now working together to defend our city.
Yeah.
Yay. So.
Yeah, totally.
It would make sense if you were playing a Zandalari to defend your city. That actually makes sense.
Dude, I've had like the High Council of the Proudmoore, like, Admiralty kneeling before me and thanking me for saving them. And I'm like, yeah, but do you want to be an allied race though? And they're like, oh, not yet, mate. We'll do anything to help. Be an allied race, not that. No.
It is still busy working on her ship as part of the recruitment thing.
Oh yeah, of course.
But yeah, so otherwise on the notes, we've got something about the new Mythic Plus season coming, and I have in the notes no ... rewards frowny face.
Feels bad.
Which we touched upon before, but it is coming. Reading, at least it looks cool. You've got all these like spectral, angry, Bwansamdi spirits going around. Something I didn't mention, Wowhead is actually launching a set of advanced Mythic Plus guides with a lot of people pushing top keys and Mythic Plus streamers, so we previewed 2 this week and more are coming soon. So I guess that's cool. Like, if you ever wanted to take the step and do Mythic Plus for the glory of Mythic Plus and you don't care about the rewards, but you really want to do 15s for the satisfaction, we have guides coming to help you with that. So Squishy set that up, so thank you, Squishy, for doing that. But yeah, no, it's sad. Like, we were just talking about all these dazar'alor rewards with Mythic Plus. It's just like, well, you can buy more things with Titan Residuum and things hit harder in Season 2. But nothing as far as the cool reward front. But yeah.
I'm sticking to the idea that there should be, per season, some kind of Mythic Plus reward, which then afterwards becomes unobtainable.
We asked them
I'm down with that.
That would make me Plus.
I thought with Ian, we were all like, when we were talking about Transmog, we had that whole blur being like, hey, so what about that, you know, Sentinel Glaive for other classes? And we're like, oh, while we're here, have you thought about bringing back Warlords or Mythic, you know, MOP style rewards for challenge modes? And they were like, not sure. But I will say that every time we interview Chris Robinson and we joke about adding something, it does sort of make its way to the game a year later.
So you just have to keep doing it.
I'm not giving up hope. Yeah.
Yeah. Not giving up. One day.
So before we talked about the PTR a little, we just want to wrap up the Season 2 discussion with sort of any, like, just general thoughts or predictions on what we think is coming about stuff we don't know. Like, do we have any thoughts on cinematics coming or interesting story thing you thought was interesting? And
yes, I do.
Okay.
We'll make some cinematics predictions.
Perfect.
Okay.
It's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Well, it looks from the Season 2, from the survival guide. I haven't watched the new survival guide because it just dropped before we started this show. Maybe I should have watched it. But the last survival guide had some bits of cinematic in it, which look like it's before the raid starts. Like, it looks like it's the build-up to the raid. So I don't know if that's a cinematic that will play as you enter the raid or at the end of the war campaign to start the raid. But I'm going to say maybe, like, literally it's a cinematic that plays when you enter the raid for the first time.
Okay. Would it be the same cinematic for both Horde and Alliance?
Yeah, because it looks like it's a standard, like, opening to the raid.
I think they're going to go like Battle of Lordaeron, where parts overlap, but then the beginning and ends are different.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'd be down with that as well. Yeah, so like it starts off with the ships arriving. We've seen that. That's not a spoiler. And like there's some volley of fire, and it's like, and then like the Alliance one is Jaina going, "Heroes with me," and then the Horde one is like,
"Oh no,
heroes, you must go." I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do that. Wow, no. You must go and stop that thing happening. Yeah, exactly. But so my big prediction is though that there won't be a cinematic at the end of the raid. And instead, there's going to be what we would expect to be the final cinematic.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be after the Mekkatorque fight.
Oh, because what's going to happen in that cinematic?
I don't think it's a spoiler to say that you will defeat Mekkatorque in the course of the fight, whatever that entails.
Wow. Yeah.
And we'll be oh, hang on, there is some cinematic happening here. Okay, so I've just got the new survival guide playing here as well, but it doesn't look like anything too...
Jaina's on a boat that's rocking, so we might get like a little build-up one into the Jaina one, but yeah, go ahead.
But, so whether or not there is one at the end, I think there's going to be like a proper cinematic after the Mekkatorque fight.
And why is that?
Because Terran Gregory basically said so in the street.
He wore a shirt that had the Mekkatorque logo on it, and then when they were talking about stuff we didn't know, he was like body language hinting there was a thing. And
he was doing this.
Yeah, he was, and like, he never gives anything away. Like, he all the people that work for Blizzard are like the most secretive people I've ever talked to. They're horrible. I hate them. And like, they will look you in the eye and just not reveal anything in the slightest. And it's crazy. It's crazy to me. So and the fact that he said that makes me think that there must be a cinematic.
Yeah, plus like we need a cinematic with a gnome, so that would be a really sad
Exactly. No, and so that's what I think. That's my stupid prediction.
So also, I think Blizzard, we thought at the time they leaked by accident the audio for a cinematic following Rastakhan between Talanji and Bwansamdi. And we're like, oh, why did Blizzard do this? They're like giving away some of the cinematic. But maybe they wanted all the attention to be focused on that one, so the Mekkatorque one would be more of a surprise, and we'll be getting two full cinematics.
And would that be a cinematic, though? Because I kind of, when I saw that dialogue, I assumed that was like a kind of in-game kind of thing.
The music surrounding it was like pounding drums on like swelling music, and it was 2 minutes long. So I think the dialogue didn't sound too well. I mean, not really a spoiler. Talanji obviously realizes that Bwansamdi is in charge because hey, look, there's skulls everywhere.
I must have missed that one. So when you say the music is all booming and stuff, is there like sound effects in there as well?
Yeah. Yeah, so it sounds like something pretty epic is happening, and then Talanji and Bwansamdi, you're sort of talking to each other. I can send it to you after. But yeah, so basically we have all the audio and the music, and we don't have the visuals. So I think something cool will be shown on the screen, but we know something is coming. So I think maybe Blizzard was trying to like hype up that and then have this Mekkatorque thing be totally secret and just sort of appear out of nowhere. I will have to really... Yeah. I'm really looking forward to it because I've been wanting to do an article on Talanji and Jaina parallels for a long time, and I think the cinematic would be like a missing puzzle piece that could lead up to some more interesting parallels. So I've been sort of waiting for like months to actually publish the article. And then, I mean, of course, with Mekkatorque, I'm sort of on like the fence of like Tinkerers versus Mechanomes. I'm sure you have perspectives on that too, obviously. So I'm curious if there's any hints that I can glean from it to just sort of take predictions either way, I guess, from that. And also finally have a gnome figure getting the focus of the cinematic. But yeah, I'm also curious if there'll be anything with Jaina. Because based when you're talking about the cinematics you were showing in the survival guide, there are kind of cinematics of Jaina looking panicked on a rocking boat, which I could see her feeling that way during her fight. So I think maybe we'll have a cool transition one, like maybe in the mythic phase we'll have something with Jaina, but I can't see there being a cinematic with her at the end because she,
are we treating what we've seen of the fight so far as spoilers, or can we talk about it?
I mean, the Jaina guide is the most popular guide on Wowhead right now.
Okay, so that's not a spoiler then. Okay,
Yeah.
it's like they do leave the boat.
Yeah.
After the first phase of so like the last phase that we know of isn't on the boat, it's on the iceberg. And then obviously that iceberg is going to turn out to be a huge water elemental. So like they're not going to go back onto the boat probably, which makes me think that isn't the final cinematic that's from. If she's back on the boat there, I feel like
maybe like transitions, like the boat's rocking, something like get off the boat, and then it's like another.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen in okay, so in the first survival guide, there was what looked very much like a proper cinematic of like the ships arriving and the Zandalari defenses firing at them, and like a lot of the ships being kind of scuttled like that, and that's what I assumed the Jaina on the ship stuff was, but could be totally wrong. Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to more stairs cutscenes. I really hope we have more of those.
Stairs?
Yeah, like
stairs?
There's always like
get halfway up the stairs and go.
There's always just a cutscene of just like.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there's actually one I totally forgot that data mine we kind of know of. So it's Razakhan is yelling for Bwansamdi to help. So you've got that really awesome yell, and then Bwansamdi's like, okay, like. Skulls and bones everywhere, and then he makes the moon red, and apparently based on one of the interviews at BlizzCon, that's going to be like a zone skybox, so that might be like an Argus style thing for a patch, which would be super cool.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Yeah. Poor old Horde, man, they're getting it in their capital city, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
I know.
First their big seal breaks, and they get a red sky. Gosh.
Yeah, things are not going well for them. But yeah, so I also, transitioning into another topic just to quickly touch on, I've seen a lot of divided opinions on whether the battle was a success or not. I mean, obviously, like, oh yeah, the Alliance, they stomped in there, and then it's like, yeah, but they left, and they didn't really take over, the city, and the Zandalari now hate them, and Mekkatorque was defeated, and, the Horde loses their ships, and the Alliance still don't really know how to deal with Sylvanas, even though Anduin's like, yay, peace. So it's interesting to think about, like, was this actually a success? Did anything actually change as a result of this battle besides, just raising the stakes even higher?
Yeah, it's hard to see, like, what the Alliance were hoping to get out of it, really.
Right.
It's like they raid the city, and, whatever happens there, not all of the Zandalari are going to come out of it alive, obviously, because how could they? And I don't see how they expect that to push the Zandalar trolls away from the Horde.
They're like surprised. They're like, oh well, and it wasn't a success. The Zandalari have gotten closer. It's like, what did you expect them to do?
Yeah. Totally.
I think they're expecting all of the male Draenei to just like go topless and flex. And then they would have been like, "Oh yeah, like this is the
faction for me.
This is the faction for me. It's much better than these like male blood elves."
Do you think? Yeah, actually, do you think it was literally the Alliance just going, "Oh, guys, we've got blood elves now as well."
Yes.
So like, you can totally just. There's no reason for you to even. You can just.
I wonder.
It didn't work though. It doesn't work.
I mean, I wonder if they were like, "Oh, the Horde will abandon the Zandalari, so we'll attack, and then no one will come and back up the Zandalari, so they'll beg for us for mercy, and then we'll take them in as like an enslaved people." I don't know, but I'm just sort of like,
yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? It's not like but I mean, it's difficult. It's difficult to tell. It feels like maybe if you're giving the Alliance sort of the benefit of the doubt, it feels like maybe more of a spiteful reaction. Like the 8.1 stuff for Alliance, like they are in the war campaign. The Horde strike them twice in Kultiras. Right. Like they raid Norwington Estate, and then they kind of attack by sea via Angle Point Wharf as well. And that's when Jane is like, all right, F this for Game of Soldiers. We're going to do that attack that we put the bombs there for literally months ago. And I'm sure those bombs will still be there. It's been 3 months, but I'm pretty sure those bombs will still be there. So that'll be perfect, and we'll sail in, and it'll be. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it doesn't really serve much tactical.
I mean, I guess the Alliance get their Navy their Navy back, and now the Hordes is sort of not the Hordes. The Zandalari is more destroyed, so I guess they have like a naval win that way.
Yeah, I
as
guess
a
so.
result. And maybe they wanted to show a force, especially if hey, look, Ashvane is now escaping with the Horde. Like, let's show that we can defend ourselves. Rawr.
Yeah,
but,
that's very true.
It is a bit curious. But yeah, also on a meta level, just any thoughts on the success of splitting up the patch and season, and will people feel like there's more to do in season 2 than at the start of 8.1? Like, I get it practically that you don't drop the raid when there's Christmas, because that's bad. But yeah, it does seem like we discussed before, like the timing of 8.1 has a lot of issues with perceptions, especially that there's nothing to do, and also that it's too late and all that good stuff. And Legion was a lot better. But I do think there is a lot more to do in season 2 than at the start of the patch. I mean, you've got the new raid, new PvP, the new quest to do. There's a lot of stuff. It's just not the allied races people want.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like a raid is always like proper content. That
Yeah.
And like if you compare 8.1, 8.15 to 7.1, 7.15, the difference was obviously that 7.1, 7.15 came a lot sooner in the patch cycle.
Right. Yeah.
Which makes it like seem like more content in the first place, like just the quantity of it. And it had a dungeon, which 8.1 didn't have.
Yeah. And then the mini raid. So it was
exactly.
More,
and it's clear why like it didn't have a dungeon is because it had a warfront and it had 2 new island expeditions, which in Blizzard's head was going to be content which was just as good. And like it didn't work out that way because it's not. But it wasn't their intention to do less content. They just thought this content was going to be as good.
Right.
There's still as much of it.
I mean, the hive mind was actually cool, but that doesn't appeal to.
Yeah, exactly, totally, and it's really easy to make fun of and to mock. Yeah, and it's not as good as Dungeon. And like 8.1 had released a month and a half earlier and had a dungeon, we wouldn't have had half the conversations we've had about it.
It's actually very true.
It being like disappointing or whatever, because like dungeon feels like proper content. A dungeon feels like, you've given me something here in a way that island expeditions definitely don't. And
it could have been. Blizzard could have done something cool for hype, like, well, 8.1 is in December, like, sorry at BlizzCon, we're apologizing it's a month late, but oh look, the winner of the MBI is gonna have their first run through of this new dungeon coming in 8.1, and just like mic drop, drop this new dungeon brand new thing and show it to hundreds of thousands of viewers, and I think that could be cool.
And don't forget that 7.1 had like the mini raid hit as well.
Trial of Valor. That
keep you entertained until the
3 days after BlizzCon. It dropped. Like that was amazing timing. That just built upon all that hype. That was
incredible.
Really, yeah.
And like 8.1, 8.15 has stuff of that level, but it's just been spread out not as cleverly. It hasn't been given to us in a way that feels like this huge, just like ton of stuff.
Yeah.
Plus, there was Suramore at the time, so people were still like, "Oh, I'm doing like my little like Withered Army mini game."
Oh yeah, totally.
Balance of Power, or I'm like getting all the secrets in a zone, or I'm still doing my war camp, not war campaign.
And people were still obsessed with getting their best legendaries back then as well, because most people only had about 3 or 4 legendaries at that stage, if that.
Right.
So
Ian on Thanksgiving morning, 8 a.m. Thanksgiving, made a post on legendaries because that's how important it was. Like he woke up on...
Wow.
Yeah, it was a hot topic, man, and that was still like one of the main things driving people through like emissaries and things like that. So
I'd forgotten about legendaries for like a minute there.
Yeah.
I miss them in a way.
Dude, I didn't get my BS legendary until like the first day of 7.2.
Oh.
It felt so good.
How many legendaries was it before you got it?
I loved it because I got my BS legendary like on the first day of it. I was like, yes, 7.2 is amazing. I've been so happy playing this.
Oh, wow. How many legendaries did you get before you got the one you wanted? Or the best one? Quite a few.
Yeah. And like, Discipline Priest had some really bad ones as well. So yeah, it wasn't great. It wasn't great. My first one was Sephi's Secret before the buff, and that did not feel good.
No.
Oh.
But
we
yes.
made a whole Christmas song about it.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was a smash hit, obviously. But yeah, and so it does feel... I think obviously there is loads more to do in 8.15, like the raid being a big one. And if the raid is as good as the people who have tested it say it is, then that goes a long way to kind of making everything like feel really exciting.
Well, there's also Brawlers Guild, which people always love, and there's some new quests and stuff with that. So I'm looking forward to that return.
I love Brawlers Guild. It's cool.
Yeah. And there's like the roller coaster. There's new stuff at the Dark Moon Fair. It almost feels like 815 has more solid stuff than the start of 8.1. Because it's less island expeditions and more like, it's raiding with leashes. You've got battle pets. It's more like the tried and true updates that people that are collectors really like.
Yeah. And the extra ring on Azurite, which I think is really cool as well.
Oh, the extra ring that's the 22nd. I mean, it's like that's with the mythic on that, isn't it? But yeah. Yeah, I'm so confused, like just how the whole Azurite in general. I just can't wait for it to be changed. Like even the communication surrounding the 5th ring, it took until like yesterday for Ian to be like, hey, so some gear does not get the 5th ring, because I know a lot of people were like, oh, I'm gonna plan the gear now, and then it's gonna get this extra ring, and then it can.
No.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it's only new gear.
And now we know that they're basically like resetting the system in 8.2.
Right.
I don't even care if it works anymore. I just want it to be fun. Like I don't care if it's completely broken. Until 8.2, I just want it to be fun.
I want to be like, oh, actually, you collected all this Azurite, and like Ashara is really happy that you collected it, and now you're sort of corrupted and weird, and now you basically using us being tricked as a mechanism to reset it. And then it's like, oh, now we got to do something else with them, because actually. You were collecting Azurite, and it's not helping anything. Like, Azeroth is still at war. Magni's unhappy how it's going, so now we gotta, change things up. And...
Absolutely. Bless you.
Oh, bless you.
Waste 3. That's why I don't say bless you after 2.
No, I'm good.
Almost. But yeah, I do feel that 8.1 did not give enough. Like you mentioned, the Warfront Islands, but not many people find those things interesting, or like people don't really find those things challenging. And I think that's the problem. If something isn't challenging, it's not really fun to do it once you've done it once or twice. A new map will feel like a reskin. Like it doesn't really matter. People probably didn't queue. Most people probably didn't queue up just to see or experience the new map, because it's not that interesting. I think the new Warfront probably had a little bit more interest, because there's new rares, there's new things to kill, new gear to be able to pick up. But yeah, just not enough content for 8.1. I think either, and I know it was over the Christmas holidays, so it does make sense to not drop a raid at that point, but they needed to drop something else for people to have something to do.
Something I've also pointed out, that Legion was staggered, but the start of Legion was very old-fashioned. Like, it front-loaded a bunch of stuff on you. And the staggering started more around Nighthold. So when the staggering started, you had this backlog of rich stuff to do, but BFA started off in the staggered mindset. So, like, there wasn't things like Withered Army or the artifacts or the class halls. It was very much like, okay, you did Jaina Pride of Kultras, you did Ulduar, you did your war campaign for the week. So when 8.1 was staggered and thin and kind of late, you didn't have that backlog of fun stuff to farm or do just around the world. Even finishing Suramar, that took people forever. There was no Suramar meaty equivalent. So I think that was also a problem. But it seems like 8.2 will kind of be like the equivalent of Suramar, with like lots of detailed, quirky side things and like more lore and meat behind the heart of Azeroth. So
that's what they said. I think it's gonna take a much more 7.3 kind of shape.
I'm fine with that too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. But yeah, like I remember at BlizzCon 2017, one of the people I interviewed claimed that they were thinking of a visual system for Azurite. And they didn't have anything to show, but they were thinking that the more rings you had, the more elaborate things would be. So I don't know, maybe we would get that in a future patch. That'd be cool. That can maybe tie in well with like, oh, if Azurite's kind of a weird substance, maybe like you get kind of gross looking Azurite outcroppings on you, or you have like really badass creepy things. So I don't know. I hope they bring back a visual component. Like Transmog was how I went from being just a volunteer on Wowhead to doing more. So I always have a soft spot for like visual stuff, and I like fashion in general. So just this whole like unlock the ring and there's no lore or transmog, I'm very much like about those.
Yeah, we have the neck, which is very boring. Like you can't see necks, right? And then we have the Azurite pieces. 95% of people probably have no idea how it even looks like because they transmog out of it. Imagine if it looked so cool that you want it to look like its original form, you know?
Yeah.
Like, because I don't know about you guys, but I would most often use skins of my artifact weapon. I would very, very seldom actually transmog it to something older because there were so many different kinds that I loved that looked really cool as they were. And if I got bored of one color, I did have, you know, a different color as well. Like, for example, as the Affliction Warlock, I had these really cool looking scythes all the time, and I would switch between the different colors too. Like, sometimes I would choose the red one, sometimes I would choose the legendary color one for Kill Jaden, you know? Like, they were cool. And we haven't had anything cool. Yeah.
Like, just every spec had like a little mini game to find their appearance, and it just added to the lore, and it was a fun thing to do. I remember people were so hyped about finding the Ashbringer skin, like that. People were like, I think that's how some discords were made, like coming together to solve these secrets just for a new cool appearance.
Yeah. If you could make Azurite cooler somehow, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Also, can't forget about the Mage Tower. I know you guys love the Mage Tower challenges, but that had a ton of replayability at the end of Legion. Like, that got people, like, always checking class guys more so than they are now, because they needed to get their cool thing that was going away.
Because it was going away. Yeah. It was going away. It's, you know, when something is only there for some time and then it becomes unobtainable, it motivates you. Like, I actually went ahead and did every single spec in the game, and like 75% of those specs I had never ever played before, so I was learning them together with stream and, you know, slowly but surely getting through each and one of them, and it was really fun. And then afterwards I knew that now I've unlocked a bunch of skins for my weapons for specs that I may never play, but maybe one day I decide to, that will no longer be available, and that's really cool.
Yeah, totally. And perfect to kind of come back to at the end of the expansion as well. Where even if it was specs that you'd never played before, you knew that you could be a little bit OP, so it would kind of even out.
Because you could farm gear if you need to.
It was great. I picked up Feral for the first time in about 8 years to do that. And you got to get your disco kitty, haven't you?
Yeah, that was my first ult. They look so cool.
I think that was the most popular guide on the site.
Yeah,
looking up.
Because it was like one of the best appearances on one of the least played classes. So wow.
Yeah, no, those were really cool.
Bring back some of those things. That would be awesome. Even just the effects on the weapon, like with the frost when you like saw Arthas, like it didn't add anything gameplay wise. It just was like, oh, that's cool. It just enriched my experience. I'm seeing Arthas randomly, or I'm getting 2% experience, or I'm having things talk to me. I just like little touches like that.
And basically what we're saying is, give us that, but for Azurite armor.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
Just give me that feeling back.
Yeah.
Feeling of,
I want to be proud of the pieces I picked up.
Something visually exciting that just, I don't, have to get it, but I want it.
What if you have top tier Azurite gear will actually allow you to hear whispers from Azeroth as you're walking around? Like, so, like, you're walking around, you've got your top tier, your top tier Azurite gear, and like you hear this whisper, and it's like, "Help me, I'm in these shoulders," or something.
I don't think I actually want that.
Okay, like something cool, like some like unique effect or something.
But I appreciate
like, I thought of that in 5 seconds. They've probably got a bit more than 5 seconds.
Like,
into
you could progress with more of the story, or I mean, they were talking about 8.2, like different friends that you can gain friendship with. Maybe some that could be tied to Azurite, or you could unlock special shrines, or like read books. I mean, that was just ripped up from artifact knowledge, but like you gain knowledge and then you read a book and you learn more about the weapon. And now in BFA, it's like, I gained knowledge that I got a new piece, and now I have to grind it out to equip the piece. And I don't know, like even artifact knowledge was exciting because you got more stuff, and then you got the appearance when you maxed out your knowledge, and like that, it would be cool to add stuff like that back.
Even in Legion, with artifact knowledge, you didn't just get an increase in like artifact power. You also got a new chapter unlocked in the book.
Yeah.
You could read the lore of the weapon and stuff like that. And even something like that. There's a big book in the heart of Azeroth, like Magni's Chamber or whatever, in Silithus, where it's like you're uncovering a little bit more of like.
And that was so promising at the start, because when you hit Revere with Champions of Azeroth, you had this encounter where like the old gods were like, ooh, tasty, and N'Zoth was like, oh, no, not N'Zoth, and Magni was like, oh, it's nothing. And you could have this book where he's like, everything is great, I love Azurite, and then like the shadowy thing is like, Azerite, he's evil, and you're just like in suspense for the whole book.
Oh, so you'll be reading it, and it'll be like Azeroth's diary.
Yeah.
And it'll be like, oh, I'm still here, still got a big sword in me. And then there's like a little bit written in Magni's handwriting underneath saying, oh, and by the way, Magni is brilliant, trust him, he's great.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's like some weird like old god language being like,
yeah. We sussed this.
Yeah.
I just saw a comment in chat. Are you planning to switch, or are you commenting this?
No, you can. What are you saying? Sorry, I don't.
No,
I was gonna comment the data mining thing, but go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. No, in that case, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that this just came to my mind, but when we data mined a bunch of icons for like the Vulpera Familiar and the Alliance and Horde rockets, and this Year of the Pig mount we think is coming up, there was an icon that looked like the Heart of Azeroth on a cloak, and we're like, what could this be? Like, it looked like the gigantic, green, blue, gold ball thing with the color scheme was the same. So I wonder if there's something coming with that. But yeah, that's all I was gonna say. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I remember that cloak actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, which does open a little bit of interest in the idea of transmog for Azerite being more important, right? And that could be really cool. Yeah, I wanted to comment one of the comments in the chat because it's something that crossed my mind as well. What if they make the Azerite... Well, the exact comment is, let's see, here from Daint. He said, what if the Azerite shoulders gave effects like the MLP challenge gear? Like rogues having smoke appear, hunters' shoulders lighting up, etc. And I was going to mention the Paladin one because I always love the Paladin one, where when you cast something, you get these sort of shiny, spiky lines around you, like as a circle. And that was the only reason I wanted to do challenge modes on my Paladin, because I wanted to get that set. It looks really, really cool. And the same with the Mage one, where you get this sort of Dark Moon Fair eye light up above your head, I think, or maybe it's shoulders, I'm not sure.
I think it was both. It was like the three schools of magic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So imagine if you get that.
A green fire quest, but it's like a blue Azerite quest that changes all your abilities to like glowing blue Azerite effects.
Yes.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah,
because there is already that very...
Mage, maybe not for anything else.
Because there is already that sort of glittery effect when you loot Azerite, right? When you go to these different quests.
Amazing.
Yeah,
and,
it looks amazing.
By far the best thing about island expeditions is when that Azerite starts flying everywhere.
Exactly.
Or when you like soak in a pool of Azerite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little bit shinier.
Yeah. Imagine that, like once you have a full set of Azerite at maybe a certain item level or something, you start having those things, coming off your shoulders or headpiece or something.
Right. And you're like, I'm so badass, but am I getting corrupted? And you're like,
yeah, exactly.
Know.
And it's really cool. And they'd be like an Azerite Paladin. There's a comment that's saying like visuals won't save WoW, and that's absolutely right. But it's not just the visuals; it's having like the missions to unlock those visuals.
Of course,
like, the thing to aim for to unlock those things. Like you're absolutely right in that just having the visuals isn't enough.
No.
Like if
it's the
you
challenge
just
to get them,
click a button
right?
and have your green fire quest, that wouldn't be enough. But the green fire quest was really cool and like was good to do and made you feel great. So yeah, it's having the things that
and it's something to add to it so it doesn't feel like an RNG slot machine when there's just like effects that add to the flavor or things that are fun that increase your involvement and pride in the game. That isn't just, oh, I got this piece of gear, like it bare bones, obviously I'm going to do this a week and I'll get RNG. It just expands things.
Like the Mage Tower appearances were cool, but it was the Mage Tower that made them cool. Like, and it would be the same with like your Azerite fire quest. Let's call it. Yeah, it'd be awesome.
I mean, there's a reason we're still talking about MOP challenge modes, right? Like, those are long gone, right? But we're still talking about them because they have some of the most amazing visuals, in my opinion, at least transmog-wise. Because they have a lot of very unique effects that we haven't seen since. And the challenge modes in WoD, very similarly, have one of the coolest weapon animations. When I see a weapon, often I may not even know that it's a challenge mode weapon because it's a weapon type that I don't use. But just based on the animation, I can usually guess that that's a challenge mode weapon because they just stick out so much.
And even the Mage Tower sort of had its inspiration in MoP, where you had the Proving Grounds and the Endless Waves, and you got this title and people just wanted to do that as a status symbol, like, I'm really good and I got these 30 waves and I got something special, and then people took it even farther to see if they could get like, I don't know, like
some people did some really ridiculous ones.
So it's like people pushing themselves beyond that. Like, Blizzard has a challenge and then people do it and they say, well, maybe I could take it even more. Maybe I could do it on multiple characters. Maybe I could get the, appearance on 36 characters, not one. And I think stuff like that is good for the game. So
yeah, totally.
late Rise of Ashara.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so just looking at the PTR, we don't have any build today, which is good because we're having like a super long show discussing everything else.
Sorry.
And I'm pretty sure we're not. Yeah, oh my god, I hate talking about WoW. Like all four of us, we focus on WoW. We hate talking about WoW.
Don't blame us. Blame Morris. He's been a nightmare. This entire he's so demanding. He's
Oh
like,
no!
nah, talk about
Why,
Azrael."
Morris?
I will, Morris. I will.
Rayqua's been really good since after the first hour. You can't see him, but I put this blanket and he's fast asleep on the blanket.
Oh,
I
he's
picked
being
him
a
up,
calm
he'd be
kitty
attacked.
today.
Well, yeah. Well, when we started the show, you didn't even see him because he was strangling me with the cord.
Oh.
But I don't think we're getting a PTR build because Blizzard customer service was talking about them not being around, and a lot of employees are talking about doing like cool meetings or other stuff. So I don't think we're getting a
their
PTR.
staff going out.
Yeah.
Haven't they? Yeah.
Yeah. So I do think it's interesting though how the PTR launched in the week when it was pretty dead. Like everyone got back from the holidays and it's like, okay, there's nothing. So they're like, oh look, PTR, like something with Zandalari, something with Kulturas, like something bad Sylvanas did again. And then that got everyone talking for a week, and now that people are more into looking forward to season 2, there's no PTR. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting. Like they don't really create content around the PTR, but I think that having people hyped about the PTR does help them, even if they won't officially like do anything with it besides.
Oh yeah,
like,
I definitely think they think about when they drop the PTRs as much as they think about when they drop the patches. To be honest,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you definitely saw that in Legion. You saw like
Yeah.
you know that a PTR would drop in like the week after a new patch dropped. Like a week or two afterwards, there'd be the PTR for the next patch would drop. Like there's always some. As a creator, it was amazing because there's always something to talk about. Like,
Right.
There's always something to kind of analyze. It must have been the same for Wowhead and stuff as well.
yeah, they've actually gotten better with it. I remember it was really bad with Nighthold because it was the Mythic Read came out, I think, and the PTR. So we're like, too much.
I remember doing it, and we did this
yeah.
whole section where we were like, we were going to talk about the world first race, but
Yeah.
sorry, dudes, no, because it was like Argus that dropped, wasn't it, or something like something huge.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they dropped 7-2. They dropped Tomb of Sargeras same day as Nighthold, and then I think it was something similar for when the raid in Argus again. It was
Crazy.
like the same parallel. That was like too much, but I think that it was very savvy how they dropped the PTR this time.
Yeah.
I
And
think
it was
this
absolutely intended, as was this one, certainly, yeah.
this
And it was
this
right before
PTR.
the lore panel because it was like, oh, like we're doing a lore panel. Oh, look, all these characters are showing up in the broadcast text that Blizzard won't officially mention, but is actually really good at hyping stuff up. And then,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say this PTR is even more sneaky because they mentioned the new allied races, and some people misunderstand it and think that means it's coming next week. You know, because it's like, oh, it's a new raid, right? That's the new patch, so we're getting them, and it's like, no, that's
But that's our
another
job.
one.
That's our job as like creators and like news givers and
Yeah.
like I guess like pro players and like website runners and stuff is to make sure that that message is given like loud and clear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's just some things where you say it and you just see it not going well, even as you're saying it, like you just see it falling apart. Yeah, I've had a few. Like when you like the see you later bundle, like you just saw that not going well from a mile away.
Yeah.
Or being like, oh, like the Zandalari racials are not finished. People are still upset that they're overpowered in their current form.
Oh yeah, but that's people's fun, man. Let them have that fun.
Yeah.
Let them get upset about that. Like it's the good stuff to get upset about. If you can't get upset about a new racial, what can you get upset about? Come on.
Yeah,
but
I
the
just
thing
saw
I-
it comment in the chat. Did
Go
you
ahead.
see it?
Yeah.
It said, wait,
sorry.
allied races aren't next reset?
Uh-oh.
Yep. Nope, they're not. They're not.
I actually, on the Wowhead post, I have some comments being like, why isn't Wowhead covering WoD Time Walking? Why don't you have any info on this already? And it's like, well, it's not in 8. It's not in Season 2. That's why it's not in our patch coverage. So some people are still confused about all that.
Mm-hmm.
But the PTR thing I wanted to discuss a little was the one thing we didn't get to cover the last time we had this show was looking at the Whispers in more detail because I I wanted to do a good job with that and not just be like, like, oh, look, it says the same word in two whispers connection. So I thought it might be fun to discuss that a little bit, especially since we were talking about earlier that maybe, Anduin is kind of optimistic that this raid was a success, and some of the new whispers are hinting that, things are maybe not in great shape for him. So I think Annie has some of the whispers on the screen. I'm not going to flash them. I wrote a gigantic post. We don't need to go over every whisper, but I thought it might be fun just to like discuss anything that stood out in them. I can share some of my favorites.
Before you do, and I'll be really interested to hear your opinions on it, because we actually had a big chat about it on our pro stream the other day.
Oh, okay.
And we actually came up with a pretty strong theory, and I'd be interested to know what you think of this.
Okay.
Is that we think possibly that N'Zoth and Ashara are not currently on the same side, and that N'Zoth is actually helping us defeat Ashara.
Interesting. So back when Warbringer's Ashara came out, I was curious who was playing whom, and I had some sort of tongue-in-cheek tweets being like, oh, Ashara is going to work with N'Zoth and turn against him, and N'Zoth's like, hey, Ashara, like, where's the rebuilding of the Empire? And she's like, oh, like, I'm busy.
It's been 10,000 years.
Like, I'm busy, like, rebuilding my palace. Don't bother me. So I got some definite hints that she's going to go off and do her own thing. Like, she's with N'Zoth because it suits her, but if she can, like, get back and take over the empires herself, she's gonna want to go off and do her own thing and be her own queen again and being in charge. So I was getting that vibe in Warbringers, how both of them kind of want to like.
Can I talk about Naifu? Can I talk about Naga?
Yeah.
Because one of the things you do with Naifu in the Return of Naifu as Alatath is, without giving too much away, but like she makes a deal with N'Zoth, which benefits them both, and part of like fulfilling that deal involves killing an awful lot of Naga, which would be a really weird thing for N'Zoth to make you do if they were still on the same side. Yeah. And I just kind of feel that over the last 10,000 years, Ashara's kind of gone, all right, Squid Boy, I don't need you. I'm fine. Like, I'm gonna do my own thing. Yeah, I think N'Zoth, he's talking, and as you'll see in some of these whispers, we're pretty chummy with N'Zoth.
Wait, he gives us a gift.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We have his gift. And by the way, that's going to be a cinematic. That's going to be a cinematic to wait for, isn't it? When the raising of N'Zoth and the awakening of N'Zoth, and I got really excited about it on Twitter. I was like, this is going to be a cinematic. Like, it says it's going to be a cinematic, and it's N'Zoth. And someone was like, you realize it's going to be the Ashara Warbringer. And I was like, yeah, it is, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it could be both.
It could be both. It could be both. Yeah. But if it is a proper in-game cinematic, like, it'll be the best thing ever in the history of the game.
I mean, well, if there's a raid, there could be a cinematic.
Yeah, so we work with Naifu to awaken N'Zoth. It involves killing a lot of Naga, and then when we wait, and then in doing so, we're fighting back Naga invasions, like for N'Zoth, and then after that cinematic where we awaken him, he's given us his gift, and we're basically besties. Like, I think he helps us defeat Ashara for his own ends. I'm not saying he's a good guy. We're basically
for his own benefits too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, I think another thing is that some of the stuff he's saying, like, he's not saying anything misleading. He's like, yeah, Sylvanas is doing bad stuff. Like, I can help you. Like, Anduin is like, doesn't know what he's doing. Maybe Ilaria doesn't know what she's doing. Like, he's saying all these really scary things, and then he's like, I can help you. And it's like, yeah, things are pretty shit. Maybe it's better to lean on you for help. Like, he likes to make everyone feel like they're getting something out of the deal with him, even if it's to serve some, malicious purpose, like we saw that with Ashara. So I could totally see him being like, yeah, like, Alliance is crappy, the Horde's crappy, like, Ashara is shitty, like, I can help you, like, join up with me. And I mean, he's obviously pretty convincing if, we somehow we just sort of go along with Xalatath.
And speaking of Xalatath, because actually my favorite of all of those lines in the PTR right now, all those voice lines, broadcast text, is not something that N'Zoth says, but actually one of Xal'atath's lines where she's making the ritual to kind of waken him, and she says, "A crown for the ruler of all worlds." Which is like, that's no old god, man. That's something a lot bigger, you know? That
Yeah.
you know.
And there's a lot of crown imagery in Warbringers with the Ashar's crown floating away. It's like when her crown is floating away, that's when she sort of gets alarmed and gets this will to, you know, fight back and not just sort of sink into the water. So I think there's something to that.
And don't forget, Xal'atath is like canonically much more powerful than N'Zoth. Like, she's an intergalactic traveler.
Well,
like,
I thought it could go both ways. Like, she was like subdued and she wanted to get out of the dagger because she was like sort of like the beat up.
Yeah,
god.
totally. But like, if she's back at her full power, she's like, she's a much higher pay grade than an old god.
Right. Well, both of them is bad news. Like, when we've ever fought an old god, it's like, oh, they're in a prison and they're causing trouble, and now it's like, oh, both of these are kind of freed and they're gaining strength, so that's really bad news.
I think it's really cool. It's really exciting.
Yeah, and they've always been emphasizing in Chronicles that, you know, Yogg wanted us to fight each other because they know when we work together we can defeat the old gods, and now it's like, well, we're not working together, and these old gods and their friends are stronger than their counterparts in other expansions, so is this going to go really south for us very soon? What I thought was interesting is that some of the lines that were said were not said by N'Zoth or Xal'atath, but Sylvanas, which was sort of like, So Sylvanas is like, "This blade is more than a mere dagger. It is a torch that shall light our path forward." That's Il'gynoth being like 5 torches to light our path.
Yeah.
And I thought it was hilarious when you compare the Anduin and Sylvanas conversations, and Anduin is like, "We stand on the brink of victory, of ending this conflict." And then Sylvanas is like, "Fools, the boy king lied to himself. He hasn't the faintest inkling what he's truly up against." And then you're sort of like, yeah, Anduin, like, why are we on the brink of victory? Like, you sort of remind me of, you know, in Undercity, where he's like, oh yeah, like, Sylvanas is gonna, like, honorably, you know, resign on her throne. And it's like, yeah, it just is in that same mindset, which doesn't make sense. It's like,
he's always just like a little bit too optimistic. Right.
Yeah.
He also seems remarkably calm about the old god having been like
he's
awakened. He's like, oh man.
Like, Brother Pike was like, oh, like, he's like, we were talking about this in Wowhead chat. We're like, oh, like, Brother Pike seems really chill for, you know, becoming Xal'atath's friend and getting a gift from N'Zoth himself.
Well, do you think, I mean, like, isn't that just a representation of the entire player base, though? They're just as, like, unsurprised that it's all about old gods now as we are. It's oh, really? You don't say. It's all about old gods. Oh, okay. I didn't see that coming.
I think it's because Anduin, you know, he touched, like, the Azerite for the first time, remember? And like, since then, I think he's like he sees a bigger picture, I think.
Oh, you reckon?
Yeah.
Or do you reckon he's just, like, stoned off it? And he's just kind of, like, well chilled about everything. He's just like,
I am looking at what I wrote. I have a section on serving N'Zoth where it's like, I alone can save you from what is to come. With every choice you become more my servant. And it's in the section I was talking about how N'Zoth does not want to be the god of nothing, so I can totally see him wanting to recruit us to his side. So it's not like, oh yeah, like, they can't all serve Ashara, because then they're all serving her, they're all loyal to her instead of me, and then, like, she could overthrow me. But yeah, I think
I'm glad you agree with that, because we thought we'd just been talking about it too long on stream, and we thought we were going crazy.
My tweets actually did pretty well of sort of like Ashara, like sassy Ashara talking back to N'Zoth, and it was basically like, yeah, like, her Naga are loyal to her, she's done nothing but build her palace. Now
in 10,000 years, Peculiar.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? I've lost jobs for less than that. To be honest, she's like, yeah, I'll get you your empire on Earth. Don't worry. Okay, how long is it going to take? Well, you know, it's a big job.
Yeah.
Should we say 11,000 years?
And she refurbishes her area. She's not like helping N'Zoth with his underwater stuff. She's like, no, like, my Night Elf ruin needs to be restored to its glory and more.
Yeah.
And then I can totally see her being annoyed that, you know, the Resto Shaman artifact we just totally stole from her and then we blew it up. And that was meant to be a sign of good luck. And so I can totally see her being annoyed with that and being like, okay, now it's personal. Now I gotta, like, destroy them all in BFA because you, like, destroyed my talisman. But But yeah, I mean, if she's the one doing all this work, N'Zoth could be kind of getting anxious, like, well, the Naga like her, and, you know, she's like kind of trying to corrupt people on her own, and like, I'm just sort of this like shadow, you know, king. Like, you know, she's like in a chess match, like she's the queen going everywhere, and he's just like moving, you know, one piece by one piece.
Yeah, like a step ahead, and like using Ashara to get us on side, sort of sacrificing his queen, as it were, if you're talking chess. You know.
Yeah, to make sure that. You know,
there's a video title right there. Don't steal it, Pyro. It's mine.
What else did I have here? I mean, there's a lot of obvious stuff where it's like, oh, like there's a whisper from Il'gynoth that says this word, and then we say the same word. Yeah. But trying to see if there's oh yeah, I thought it was interesting with the Shadowlands about the veil waning, because I totally forgot about the Odin book where it talks where he's peering into the Shadowlands and they still use the same word of veil. And it was also hilarious because I was reminding how Odin was basically writing fake news, being like, I'm so awesome to Helya, I'm so wise, I'm so wonderful.
Yeah,
so
that guy's such a dick, man. That's my favorite. Okay, do you know what? That's why BFA is better than Legion.
Yeah.
No Odin. Screw that guy.
I did like the 6 seats, how they're talking about the 6 seats at the high table and one will consume all others. And
what did you think that was, Perk?
So I had 2 things. One was I thinking there were many members of the Pantheon, but it was more interesting thinking of cosmic forces, because the Void and the Light keep doing, I mean, we know the Void's evil, but the Light is also doing some tyrannical things like the Mag'har Orcs and, you know, patch 7.3. So I think it's interesting, especially because if we don't have, I think if factions change in some way, we could realign with different cosmic forces. Yeah. And
that's what everyone thinks, isn't it? It's the elemental like chart at the beginning of not elemental, but you know what I mean, the cosmic chart at the beginning of Chronicle. Someone suggested maybe it could be capital cities.
Interesting.
Which I thought was a really interesting idea. The six seats. Yeah. I like the capital cities idea.
Yeah, it also used similar language. Like it said hunger and consume, and those show up a lot in the whispers with N'Zoth. Like Xal'atath's like, oh, you know, like the other gods were stronger, but N'Zoth consumed all, or you know, N'Zoth hungers for your flesh. That comes up. Also, there's a really interesting exchange between Unat, I think that's how you say his name, and then N'Zoth, where Unat's like, what do I do with these people? And N'Zoth's like, oh, don't kill them for now. I want to, like, taste their dreams and consume them to see if they're worthy. So it's like, oh, I wonder how that fight's going to go down if N'Zoth is telling the boss not to kill us, and, like...
Yeah.
And, like, we're just, like, going to run in and, like, kill the boss, and it's like, oh, wait, actually, N'Zoth didn't want his lieutenant to fight back. He wanted us to... I don't know, go in there and I guess be like a test subject for him to see how we react to things.
Yeah, N'Zoth is so freaky. He's always like tasting our dreams and it's licking your essence. So I was like, ooh, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I like him.
Yeah.
I'd love it if he is actually just a small fish, though.
That would like appears as a fish.
Ashara will bring it. That'd be so awesome.
The fish whisper. Oh, it just was the fish cell feast. Nothing too special. But yeah, they're going back to the fish motif. I would love there to be like a little N'Zoth fish battle pet, like a creepy aquatic battle pet, maybe in a bubble.
That'd be
like
so great.
Dark navy with like glowing red eyes and I don't know what whispers stuff to you. That'd be funny. Like gonna pet it with Xal'atath and they're just arguing with each other. But yeah, so there's obviously a lot more whispers in there. I'm also curious about the player choice. Like, you can choose not to get rid of N'Zoth's eye.
Yeah. Like, what is that going to mean?
Oh yeah. Reject the gift.
Yeah, I mean, you can decide not to be cleansed by Brother Pike. So when you wake up after the cinematic and you've received his gift, well, that means is you see like the Eye of N'Zoth. Which I think appears as like a hat, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a hat. That's on everyone's head.
On just characters near you, which is obviously really cool, but must also get quite annoying after a while.
Wait,
so you want
it's a hat? I thought it was an eyeball.
It's not like a Suramar, what are you hiding style eyeball. It's like kind of a hat, but it's kind of
like a purple headband with an eye.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I also thought it was a floating thing first.
Either way, you see the Eye of N'Zoth on people, and so you can choose not to be cleansed.
Yeah.
And you can keep it on you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But eventually you're going to want to, because it'd be annoying.
I'm always wary of characters that try to give you gifts. Wasn't Zera trying to give?
Yeah. It wasn't so much
Well,
it was.
it was considered a gift, though, wasn't it?
It was more like a summons.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I like the parallel of, you know, these very sinister figures being like, I'm helping you, just go along with me, I'm helping you.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, no, they're actually just using us for something horrible. But yeah, so I think we can do a final call for questions as we wrap up some interesting Blizzard shop stuff. I've been told by Anshelin, actually, that you only see the Eye of N'Zoth on people that have the gift as well on the PTR, which is super cool.
Nice.
You can see who, like,
awesome.
Yeah, who
That's
has
so
the
much
same
cooler.
choice as you. Yeah.
Okay, now I'm sold. That's
Like,
awesome.
you can,
Oh,
like,
that's gonna
talk
be
to
amazing
them,
for RP servers.
Yeah.
Like, talk to them, and
sure.
you can talk to other people with them in the old god language. Like, wouldn't that be cool?
Oh my
That
God,
would be
that's so cool.
amazing.
What? Oh, that's
Imagine
so
like
amazing.
creating a
Imagine there should
cult
be some
in the
special
corner
thing.
somewhere.
And if you don't have the buff, you don't see. If you don't have the gift, you don't see it.
You
so
don't
it's
know,
like,
yeah.
You don't know who's siding with N'Zoth.
This is so cool. This is
so
like the
cool.
third faction before we even get the third faction.
Yeah, this is like
Yeah.
werewolf.
Yeah.
To show that, you know, I wasn't Team Alliance or Horde. I was like gonna, you know, follow N'Zoth and Ashara because they had more of a plan and more unity. So there you go. I'm gonna keep the gift N'Zoth.
Keep it on at least one of my characters, yeah.
Same.
Yeah. But yeah, so final call for giveaway, and the keyword is Belle's second channel, and yeah, we'll just wrap up some store stuff and then answer some of your questions.
Maybe we should repeat what is being given away.
Oh yeah, you guys picked them, so what are we giving away?
Yeah, we're giving away 2 pets, and you guys chose.
We chose the Alterac Brew Pup. It's my fave.
And Argy.
So Alterac Brew Pup and Argy. Those are the 2 pets that have been decided. So there will be 2 winners. 2 winners. Well, I assume it's 2 winners. It's not one person getting 2 pets, right?
No, it's 2 winners.
Yeah, 2 winners. 1 pet each. Yeah.
I mean, if you guys want to mention Old God Whispers more, we can. I just figured that it was like late where you were, so we should talk about shop stuff. But I love talking about.
If you have any like specific theories, I'd love to hear them. That you've kind of like developed, because I'm all open for hearing Old God Whisper stuff. I love that stuff. But that was the main thing that came out of it when we talked about it on our stream was like this belief that Ashara is like not working with N'Zoth at this point, and N'Zoth is actually helping us beat her.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I got those vibes with Warbringers that they were still going to be engaged in this game of trying to eventually screw the other one over. Yeah, and yeah, like I said, I was making.
And then kind of accepting his help to defeat Ashara, like opens up a whole new world of trouble for us, obviously. So it makes it powerful.
Yeah, I mean, also, we haven't seen Ilaria for a bit, but when the arrow finds its mark, the last fetter will fall away, because the word fetter is what Magister Umbric used to describe the struggle with the void. He specifically says, I struggle to fetter the whispers, same as you. Ilaria is such a great help, you know, in helping with this.
So are we talking about the arrow that kills Arator and sends her over the edge there? Is that what we're talking?
Yes. And then she kneels before the one who slumbers before Azeroth's waves. And so yeah, we haven't seen her for a bit, but I think she's going to be coming back in an upcoming patch.
Yeah.
And that's going to be bad times. Also, can I say that like I felt really bad for Turalyon in that comic? Like she's just totally icing him.
Yeah.
Oh, like
seriously. I feel bad for him every time I like whoop his ass in a war front. It's like every 3rd week. It's just like, Turalyon, you were so great. You were so great in Argus, and now, literally like the worst.
Yeah, he got such a bad deal. Like we don't see him for years, and then it's like he can't touch Ilaria, and now she like doesn't really like him anyway. And
it's so sad.
Yeah.
He's still a fox though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, I hope he doesn't die, because then like he has a cool model, and then like his model gets retired, and that's sad. So
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, also the tomes. We know that the Shadow Scroll tome, and there's the weird books like the Traitor King and the Would Be Queen.
Oh, yeah.
I think the cultists are back and
Yeah, that's
doing
what I
some
thought as well.
weird, fun stuff.
I think it's really cool that they've made those book titles like YouTube video titles.
Yes, and you don't know with the all caps, like the
Yeah.
thing of Storm.
It's like, hang on, I think we've made those videos. Like, all it needs is like a gap, triple exclamation mark. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Also, oh yeah, one more thing. I was looking at the Gorehowl Whispers. Some of them have interesting overlaps too, which was interesting to look at because BlizzCon was talking about how there are parallels between Sylvanas and Garrosh, and now if they both have their weapons, then it's like, oh, if Garrosh was an amateur, let's see what the Zalato Whispers were saying, and maybe we can get some hints as how much they're going to be ramped up when Sylvanas has her weapon. Like, Zalato's like, caress your fear, gorge your hatred, embrace your rage. And in 815, there's this line that's like, oh, make your hatred a weapon, harness your fury. There's another interesting line. Oh, yeah. Zalato is even like, I can taste the essence of your soul. It's sweet. It's like, oh, that sounds like Warbringers and 815. Interesting. The weapon's saying the same thing. So I think I might take another look at what Zalato says and the Legion cultist things, and maybe see if I can get more hints from that stuff. But yeah, I just had a lot of fun with that.
I think we predicted right at the very end of Legion, miles away from the end of Legion actually, that we would fight Xal'atath as a boss this expansion, and I'm still not 100% sure that we're wrong on that.
Yeah,
I think at some point in the history of WoW, we will fight Xal'atath as a boss, as a raid boss.
I think she could be a faction leader.
Yeah, oh, nice! I'd be up for that.
Yeah.
Well, she's a Void Elf, so she's Alliance, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Comes out like.
Hey, if you want to play Void Elf Xal'atath, the Alliance is here for you.
Yeah. I just the whole if you see the Eye of N'Zoth, you're like in this little secret group, and it's like Xal'atath. And Xal'atath is kind of the leader of that group because she lured you in and set up, set up the ritual. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
She's already done more than Vol'jin. She's like great war chief. She's not.
But yeah, Blizzard Shop. So we both bought this. There was a Jaina Proudmoore limited edition print that appeared last week and then sold out after I posted about it. And it's really pretty.
It's all your fault, Perk, not giving people a chance to see it.
Well, by the way, Perk, thanks for sending us a DM and letting us know about that, because I got on there and I ordered that stuff before I tweeted about it as well. But then yesterday I got an email saying that my order had been cancelled.
Wait, what?
I was so excited. I got it, but I apparently
How?
they just took more orders than they have. They took more than 150 orders basically. So I got an email yesterday saying, "Yeah, sorry, no, you haven't got the print. It's not coming."
Yeah. One of my other friends that I DM'd messaged me the same thing, being like, "Oh, like I didn't get this. Like it said false alarm." But I checked mine, and I actually got mine because I ordered it before making the post. So
very smart.
But apparently it was on sale for 2 days before I posted about it. So
oh no way! Oh, I feel so stupid. That's what I get for never checking the shop.
Yeah, I need to make like a what's it called, like bot or something that lets me know when the print is up. But yeah, I think it was a very reasonable price. And it was like 55 bucks.
Okay.
It was just, and for like an actual print, and it's different than a limited edition See You Later bundle because it's an actual physical thing that you need to make on high quality paper and ink.
Yeah.
And I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be a part of a little series of limited edition.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
It's not all WoW stuff, so I assume every other month it's gonna be Overwatch because that's how it goes. But I would.
Yeah.
I would love to see like the key art for patches being stuff. I'd love,
that'd be cool.
Warbringer Ashara as one.
Oh.
And yeah, 55 is a pretty good price for this. Like I would definitely get more art in this style. So
I love that they started with Jaina.
Yeah,
Probably the best one.
that the statue is coming, because that statue is several months old, and I want that statue.
What, the Jaina statue?
Yeah. I want to
basically,
buy
I haven't bought food for like 3 months because I've been saving up for that statue. Haven't paid like any of my bills. I'm not going to be paying my tax this year just because I'm like waiting for that statue to drop and I need that money in my account. Like,
And still no statue.
no Christmas presents for you.
No.
Like,
Aw, cutting down
I'll
on
accept
Christmas
that.
presents? Wait, Evitel accepts that?
we've got nowhere
Yeah.
to put it. So basically, when it arrives, you're on the sofa bed because like it's going to have to
Whoa.
We know that at the end of the day, it will be my Jaina statue.
go. Yeah, well, that's true.
So now you need two Jaina statues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey man, I could have 2. That'd be fine.
The cat can have one as
It's
well.
such
Yeah,
a beautiful statue, though. Did you see it at
Yeah.
BlizzCon?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
I posted the
is.
video that everyone was like the little rotating one. That was mine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
so
want the big one. That'd be cool. I don't know where I'm putting it though. Like, I guess I could put it on the shelf, but our little friend's gonna be like attacking it because that's what he does.
Yeah, the thing is, when we get our Jaina one, though, I don't really want the Illidan one anymore, to be
No, I
honest.
know what you mean.
But that's a problem we'll face when we get there. That's fine. It's a nice problem to have.
Yeah. I just want to buy it. I mean, I know January consumer-wise is not like when people shell out money for things. That's Christmas, but I don't know. It's such good timing with the raid. I just want to buy the Jaina statue and have that be my nice January purchase. And I don't know.
Yeah, to beat back the January blues.
Mhm.
Yeah. And the other thing that's on sale is, will be on sale there's 4 collectible art books. So obviously novels get published throughout the year, but these are like Uber books that are like very nice. And 2 of them are WoW related. One is the cinematic art of WoW, and the other is the
The
a
pop-up
pop-up
book.
which I was
Yes.
super excited about. And then they were like, "Oh, you get to see like Teldrassil burn." And I'm like, "Man, that's how I get to be
Tell us you're
immortalized."
burning in pop-up?
Yeah, I'm like, is
What?
this
Insane!
Yeah, it's just like, is this like a book for children or is it like an adult
Oh my
book?
god! So hang on, you open the book and like the tree comes up and
Oh.
you pull a little tab and it's all red and fiery.
Yeah.
That'd
Oh,
be so
wow.
cool.
Yeah, I didn't read
Yeah,
about this
literally-
before. It says each page unfolds into an eye-popping treat, depicting iconic sites with brand new art and interactive pieces.
And it says, beloved locations from the classic hubs of Orgrimmar and Stormwind to the battle-scarred lands of Lordaeron and Teldrassil, and even the new capital cities of Kulturas and Zandalar.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
Yes, count me in. I'm down with it.
Nice.
I don't care how much that costs. I'll buy it. I'm such a dweeb.
I can't wait to take like, the
It's a
little like cute but deadly things and Funko Pops and put them all around the interactive things. So we have like the Sylvanas, like Funko, I don't know,
Ooh, I
standing
wonder
in front
how...
of the...
Do we know how big the book is going to be?
Oh, yeah.
No, they said that these are coming in the fall. So
Okay.
we've got
Pop-up books are
quite a few
pretty
months.
thick. Like you
Okay.
can only fit
But I
about
mean,
10
like-
pages in a
like
pop-up
how
book.
actually big?
Oh right, I see.
Like,
Yeah,
is it this big?
I hope so. So big that it pops up and you can walk around it.
Imagine
But I
that.
can't. Yeah, the cat's
so
gonna be
amazing.
big. But yeah, I'm excited for this. But also, I don't know. I'd like there to be like oh, here's this beautiful like alliance page, this beautiful horde page, and this beautiful browse page, and here's like a burning tree and a bunch of like plague rocks. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm sort of like, oh, this would have been like a fun Legion book. I mean, I'm still gonna buy it. I'm still gonna like put little like Pepe and organize, Like,
Oh,
we're gonna put like a Pepe in the center and have the little Anduin figurines. Like, I'm still gonna have like so much fun with it, but it made me a little sad when I was like, oh wow, that's like deep. They're gonna just have like a burning tree
Yeah.
page. That's like, I don't know, age advisory on this pop-up book.
oh. Yeah, so we
That's
have
one
2
I'm
of them.
excited about for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
2 of them will be World of Warcraft related, and then we have 1 for Hearthstone and 1 for Diablo.
Yeah. Which I don't know. You mentioned anything Diablo, and if it's not Diablo 4, people are gonna be like, ah. But yeah.
Yeah. People are gonna be like, oh, this is damage control for the mobile thing, but it's like probably decided before that was announced, you know?
Someone drew a whole book of art as a reaction to Diablo Immortal. And then
Wait,
published-
really?
No, I mean.
Oh!
Yeah.
I thought You saying it happened.
No, I'm saying people be like, oh, this art book, like they ordered some artists to draw this as Fallout from Diablo Immortal.
I thought you meant that happened separately. I was like,
It might be a nice
really?
little touch if they have like phone scannable QR codes on each page, maybe.
Yeah. But yeah, that about covers it. I can just touch on the Wowhead things that we didn't mention, because we always close the show by being like, oh, like, here's a cool thing on Wowhead you might want to care about or use. We announced the Secret Fighting Discord put their Hivemind guide on Wowhead, which was really awesome, and they got motivated to put a bunch more guides on Wowhead. So now all the major secrets have a guide that the team has written on Wowhead, which is awesome. So we've got like why am I blanking? We've got the Hippogriff, we have the Riddler's Mindworm, we have the Lucid Nightmare. Like all those guides that used to be Google Docs are now on Wowhead, which is really cool because you can do a lot more stuff with formatting and see the tooltips in different languages. So we launched that earlier in the week when there was no news, so it wouldn't get buried. But then there was a deluge of PTR news of season 2 news, so people forgot about it anyway. But we're really proud of those guides, and we have a round 2 coming very soon. We also launched a raid composition tool, which I don't have a post on yet. If you are a premium user, I announced it in our premium channel, so premium users got a little sneak peek. But basically, this raid tool will show, you enter in your composition setup and it shows what buffs are covered and who brings them, and not just buffs, but things like utility or short interrupts or threat control. So, and you can link the setup. So if you're like, my raid leader doesn't think I'm good for this fight, but I'm awesome, you can like link the composition with you and be like, see, I bring this.
Okay, so I've just made a group of a Blood DK and 5 Discipline Priests. And apparently we're good to go.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, I've already done my setup for the new raid. That's all I need.
Oh, you can just drag the classes into the groups.
Okay, now we're good to go.
Yeah. So,
But this is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna link that in the chat. That's actually fun to play around with.
Yeah. I wanted to like make the people that are always watching the show and, you know, top users like premium feel like they're hearing about it first. So I purposely didn't post this yet in the news, but I assume it's going to get a lot of use when we start discussing, you know, mythic raid composition kills for dazar'alor. Like, oh, you know, this group brought along 5 warlocks and this had 5 mages. Let's see the buffs they bring. So expect to see this linked a lot in our raid analysis. But yeah, we've been working on this really hard in December and early January. And if you switch the domain to Classic, you see it kind of works for Classic right now as well. So that's still a work in progress, but yeah, it's all set up to work for Classic as well. It's going to be all good to go for Molten Core, and it has all the Classic-specific things you care about there. So it has, like, you know, what brings resistances, what brings this stat you don't care about in BFA. So we're really happy to try that tool out on both BFA and Classic.
It's awesome.
That sounds awesome.
It can also work for Mythic Plus too, because there's this big emphasis on utility, so you could even use it to be like, oh, like these 5 people bring like 30 interrupts total. But yeah, get fun with that. And yeah, post incoming, probably not today because I took this. I was writing my performance review for work, and then like 3 articles hit, and then I was taking a shower for the show, and the arena thing hit. So I'm just like, there's too much news today. I'm just like pushing back everything else I had scheduled for today, but. Before the raid, I'll make a post on it. It'll be cool. Also, if you're watching the show last week, I was all like, "Oh, New Year resolution! I'm gonna be more involved in like
social media."
Social media. Yeah, so the Twitch thing is still coming along because I'm waiting to get a new microphone sent, and also sorting out how to.
I'm so excited for that, so we can hear Perk properly.
Yeah. Figuring out how to make streaming data mining not a disaster, but I think it would be cool to just stream updating guides and cool data stuff. But I was also like, oh, Instagram is what the youths use. I should make an Instagram. And it's I made my first post yesterday.
It's very so true, though. Wow. You know, especially in Europe, I think in America, Twitter is a lot more popular than Instagram. Well, actually, I'm not sure, but the ratio in general with how many people use Twitter compared to Sweden, it's so much more rare in Sweden. People in Sweden tend to use like Instagram and Facebook, And I've noticed that a lot with teens as well. Like my sister, she's 16 and she's never even thought about using Twitter, but she's used Instagram since, I don't even know since when. She's the one who introduced me to Instagram, you know, like 5 years ago or something.
God, so those pesky youths.
She was like 11.
I can't tell if they're boys or girls. Their long hair, their rock music, and their Instagram.
So I made this post and it's like, oh, you cannot post this on desktop. So I was like, okay, well, I'll trick my computer to thinking it's on a phone. And then I make the post. I'm trying to be all cute. I'm like, here's like emojis and spaces. And then I post and I'm like, oh my God, it's this gigantic block of text. And I'm like,
it messes up your spacing.
Yeah, then I'm like, I can't have spaces like after sentences. Like, what is this? Like, why are we butchering like grammar and punctuation? So I keep editing it and I finally get it to a good place. And then Instagram is like, this is a new account and you've edited too much. So we're just going to like lock you out of the account for the next 5 hours.
Oh, wow. No way.
Yeah.
So you couldn't even fix it.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But yeah.
We appreciate you trying. Okay, now we know.
Yeah.
Thanks for convincing me not to do it.
But yeah, I am going to learn new things and think of a post to make after the show on the Instagram. I figure no one's really doing, I mean, well, not many people do data mining in general, but Instagram likes pictures and models are pretty pictures. So I figure maybe I could, I don't know, post like cool models each day, stuff like that. We'll sort it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And do the hashtag thing for the community for people to upload, and then you can feature them. I think people will like that.
I told people to tag their friends if they played the Burning Crusade together, and a few people actually tagged friends.
See? Perfect start.
Exciting.
Perfect
social
start.
media master.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like I can live tweet, you know, a BlizzCon panel, no problem, but making an Instagram post is apparently beyond me, so.
It's really weird. Like the spacing thing that you talked about, for example, like sometimes when I press enter, it does give me one line of space and sometimes it doesn't. Like I think most of the time if I use an emoji at the end of the first paragraph, if I press enter, it automatically puts it together. I think. I'm not even sure. But there's
I found it gives me like one like enter, but then none of the others. So it's like, I'll give you one.
Yeah.
But then everything else is just a block.
Whoa, you've had your fun.
Yeah.
Enough spaces for you. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still sometimes trying to figure it out as well. I just post as a block anyways at this point. I try to not rely on that. Like I'm ready for it to just become one block pretty much. And then if it works, I get happy.
Yeah, I mean, I figure, I don't know, my goal is just figure out doing more with Twitch and Instagram for Wowhead. Maybe I'll like actually revive my own Instagram or just do one for Brightpaw where I don't have to worry about things being pretty and just being like cat picture. And then I was like, okay.
I actually started an Instagram account for my cat 2 or 3 months ago, and she has like over 500 followers now, you know?
Oh,
amazing.
So
Does that make you jealous? I think I'd get jealous.
Apparently, hold on. Apparently Angelin, who made the Wowhead post, told people to follow the Wowhead Instagram account, not Wowhead official. And
that's somebody else?
Yeah. That's the thing. Oh, yeah, Wowhead was taken, and the Instagram rules said that because they were not impersonating the core of the brand, I cannot get Wowhead.
Yeah. So, I think the only way to get it then would be to directly contact them and ask nicely. Sometimes they let you, but most of the time they don't. Yeah. You can always try.
Apparently, Sass is telling me that in the post where I was saying double tap and follow Wowhead, I typed Wowhead incorrectly. It should have been Wowhead. So, yeah.
It's okay. It's all a learning process, right?
It's kind of good that I'm doing something that I actually don't know what I'm doing because I've been working with Wowhead for so long and, you know, playing WoW since Classic. So it's good to, I don't know. It's good to actually have to problem solve something that isn't like second nature. But yeah, Wowhead official is our Instagram. I'll be doing great things and streaming soon when I have a different mic.
Exciting times.
Yeah. But yeah, that about wraps it up. I think we have the giveaway winners and we have some questions that Sass gathered. The winners are Von Snoothingham for the Brewpub and the Rumor 18 for Argy.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Yay.
Pets for you.
And thank you, Taliesin Evitel, for deciding on those pets.
Oh,
They picked them out for us.
Anytime.
And if you don't like them, you know who to blame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just come to one of our videos on YouTube and like flag us off, and you know.
Comment like,
You'll be the only
why
ones
did you
who
pick
notice
this pet?
One of the questions was actually from RHMQ 232222. Can T&E explain what the giveaway keyword code is about?
No, I don't know what it's about.
No idea.
It's just a random collection of letters. No, it's because Bellular, top WoW creator, made a different channel.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all it was. It's inspired me. I'm going to make a second channel where I just talk about Bellular.
Wow.
I can have a WoW channel and a
Not what I
Bellular
was
channel.
expecting.
No.
I like it.
Yeah. I might make a third channel as well. So one is like a channel where I say nice things about Bellular, and one is a channel where I'm allowed to say bad things about Bellular.
Hey, that'd be better for the algorithm.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
More organized that way. Let's see. PC's Lone Wolf says, can you clarify if we're getting the Black War Saber or the White War Saber, because the press releases are a bit whack? I think that refers to the mount looking a bit on the light side in Blizzard's preview. I believe it's the Black War Saber because they actually have the mount item in the database for the Black War Saber, and the White War Saber has incomplete data. So by process of elimination, it's the Black War Saber because that's the one Blizzard actually made the lootable mount item for. Let's see. If we don't get the Tinker class in the next expansion, which can't be tolerated, by the way, which other class do you think they can introduce? This was from Darkside D3.
If they don't introduce Tinker next expansion, WoW will be dead. So it's an irrelevant question. I wouldn't even know if they don't. It's a stupid question. That's like saying if the sun doesn't come up tomorrow, what are you going to do? Of course, Tinker's going to be the next expansion class. 100%. You agree? I can tell by your face you agree with me.
Yes.
Yes.
I agree 100%.
I'm so convinced by this. I will bet 100 Altrak Rupets. I will start a fourth channel. Where I just give away Altrak Rupups the whole time. No, people always talk about like Necromancer, but I feel like you can't do that in WoW because you've already got Demonology Warlocks, which are pretty much what a Necromancer would be in a way.
What about Bards?
Yeah, maybe.
Hmm?
You could have some Dark Ranger class.
Dark Ranger would be cool.
I still think Dark Ranger would be a allied race rather than a class. I think now that you get Night Elf Dark Rangers as well, I always felt like it would be a class, and you'd have Rogue, you'd have Hunter. Sorry, you'd be an allied race, and they could be Rogue, they could be Hunter.
Yeah, and you could have that could go along with the Light.
Yeah,
Undead.
Yeah, that's what I think, because like as a class, it's just Hunter, isn't it? So like I always thought it would be a race rather than a class, personally. But you know, yeah.
Let's see. Can the End ask, can you ask Teeny why they YouTube rather than Twitch?
I think this should be proof.
Yeah, I think this is proven that we're much better at the thing where you have to sit down and plan it out and film it and edit it and then present it to you lovely public rather than...
But we do
You
Twitch
guys have
anyway.
been awesome today.
We're pro Twitchers. I know we forgot to like just put that in our little symbols below our photo here, but we do Twitch. We've got a Twitch channel. It's Taliesin Evitel.
Let's link
and
it.
We do stream at least once a week at the moment, mostly 2 times a week. We're a bit behind on videos this week, so we've only streamed once this week.
Is it Taliesin Evitel or
we're
Taliesin
pro-Twitchers.
and Evitel?
Come and watch us Twitch. But like generally I kind of feel like the videos are how we started, and they're where we get our kind of creative satisfaction from, because we write them and like we have the way that we present them and stuff like that. And I feel like YouTube is a craft and Twitch is a talent. Do you know what I mean? Like
I agree. I feel like I can like really put something into making videos and then putting them online, whereas Twitch is like makes you tired. Like it wears me out.
Hey man, staying up to 4 a.m. editing videos makes me pretty tired.
That also. But yeah, Twitch is hard, and then I don't think I have the actual like looking at this screen, playing the game, talking, responding. Oh, that's like too many tasks for me in one go.
Yeah. Our Twitch stream is pretty chilled because like we're not like awesome players of the game like say Annie is.
Well,
so
whoa, giving me way too much credit here.
So like, and that's the thing. Like, there's only so much you can hold a Twitch stream just by having chats and like telling stories and joking around with people and stuff. And that's what our Twitch streams tend to be with gameplay.
Time.
Yeah, the gameplay is there as an excuse to do chatting.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of people on Twitch want to watch people play the game like super well. Which we're not really interested in doing on a stream, to be honest.
I'm not sure if that's true. Like, I think storytelling and like talking, interacting with chat, and those things that you're mentioning is actually a recipe for a great stream. That's,
cool.
That's actually what a lot of people enjoy.
Yeah. We have fun, and we get a lot of people watching the stream.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. So yeah, it's cool, and like I'm really enjoying it at the moment. But we wouldn't want it to ever kind of make us, if it made us make less videos, then we wouldn't do it. So we're just kind of,
that's understandable.
Yeah.
It's interesting to hear like what you guys think on this topic, because I mostly stream, I don't really YouTube. So hearing from your point of view, like what you guys think is very interesting. Because I want to YouTube. I think YouTube is cool, but I stream so much that if I would want to do YouTube properly, then I would have to stream less, and I kind of don't want to.
Yeah, so you're pretty much in the opposite like situation.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting.
Like I've invested everything into the streaming, then it's hard to like have a good reason to do that less to work on YouTube.
Yeah, and it is like there's nice things about it in that you can kind of be like old school Blizzard, and you can go, well, if this video isn't ready, we're not going to put it out, you know, and like but you can't get away with that on a stream because it's happening live and everything you do is going out and you can't take it back, you know. So
but the same way, there's less pressure. Like if you have a stream, you don't have to I mean, obviously it depends what kind of expectations you have of yourself and your stream, but in general I don't have to necessarily have a plan when I stream. I just sort of I normally play WoW, and sometimes I even don't know what I'm gonna do in WoW and ask chat like, hey, what do you guys want to do today? And that is also totally fine. And when you do your YouTube things, you normally plan them properly, you know, you time them properly, you have a topic, you organize a when you're gonna say what to make it, you know, flow in the best way. And with streaming, you can have so much downtime. I think it was Soda Poppin who once talked about it, how streams are fine to be boring in periods of time, because it's such a long time of it just being on. People just kind of like let it be on in the background. It's okay to have like, you know, an hour of super hype time and then an hour of like not really doing anything, and it's fine. It's not like a YouTube video where if it's boring, people click away. On a stream, I
also feel like you can turn
it's
like
okay.
fails. You can turn fails into memes. So like if something doesn't go right, then you can just turn it into a joke, and then there's chat interaction, and all that good stuff. Although listen to Annie more than me.
No, it's also and like we have noticed that actually, and like our streams are super boring. So you know we're kind of proud of how boring our streams are. And we play really chill music, and like you know,
it's like folk music.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's great.
Really
It's
relaxing.
That's
really
awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Here, I'm gonna link their channel again, guys. So this is where you need to go if you want to convince Taliesin and Evitel to stream more. That's the one.
But check the YouTube first, because
okay, check the YouTube first. Does it work with just the youtube.com/Taliesin Evitel
or something? You'll find us. It's easy. Just Google it. Yeah.
This is finding them in their, you know, in their comfort, in their comfort zone, in their pro zone. I mean, sorry, they're pro streamers too, but you know.
For our final question, I think we can go with one. Necro Eye says,
that didn't work.
What do we think about Shadowlands as a future patch or expansion?
Yeah, I think I think that's what everyone thinks, isn't it? And I think there's definitely something big coming with Death and one zombie, and maybe is it Metzula, the other Death guy?
The other.
And I think the only question is, how much has N'Zoth got to do with that? Because I always thought of N'Zoth as being the old god of death. You know, he's so connected to like the Emerald Nightmare and the Emerald Dream, and he is the one that brought the Curse of Flesh. Oh no, he's not. Well, anyway, the old gods are all connected with Curse of Flesh, which is like death anyway.
Yeah, it was showing up in more of the N'Zoth Whispers, which I found interesting.
Yeah. And it's like, so it depends how he fits into that. But I think Shadowlands is 100% going to be a huge thing. Maybe not even next expansion. Maybe even at the end of this expansion.
It could be like an Argus one. Yeah. I thought it was. I mean, we've also have what sort of doesn't have repercussions now, but Sylvanas lost another Valkyr in the Darkshore Warfront, and previously she's needed a certain amount to resurrect herself, and she's been motivated since Cataclysm to act in a certain way, and she's a Valkyrie as protection, so she doesn't end up in the Shadowlands. So I think that since she's down to what she has 2 left and she needs 3 to get back to life, that something bad's going to happen with that, and she could be implicated in the Shadowlands.
Isn't one of those N'Zoth whispers like something like all that were sleeping will awaken or will rise or something like that? I mean, so lots of people are thinking that could be all of the old gods coming back. Maybe that's N'Zoth's plan, is to like reawaken all of the old gods all in one go for a big Black Empire expansion or something, which also take in the Shadowlands.
Oh, so that really cool. It's also really so it's also really troubling, because N'Zoth says all that were sleeping shall be awakened, but then Sylvanas says anything that slumbers can be awakened. So that's probably not good that Sylvanas has multiple lines that are very obviously paralleling the old gods.
And she keeps saying stuff like, the Boy King has no idea what is ahead or what's coming and stuff like that. And you're like, what do you know? What do you know, Sylvanas?
Right, it's like, why is Garrus an amateur next to her? Like, what is she
totally.
Do? So,
but yes, short answer, yes, I think we will see Shadowlands. I think it will be like something we play through properly and discover a lot more about, And I would even predict not even next expansion, but this expansion.
Yeah. Let's see. So I think we are about good on questions. Not sure if there's anything we forgot to cover. I saw Aegis asked about item level for Mythic Plus gear that's capped. We actually updated our gear. Everything is 30 levels higher than Season 1, basically. But there's a special cap for the first week, so because Mythic hasn't opened yet in the raid. But yeah, I think that's about it. So yeah.
All right. Well, and in that case, maybe a quick recap on things you should think about for this week, since the new, almost want to call it patch, since the Season 2 is starting. If you're interested in Mythic Plus, there is a feat of strength for completing all keys at +10 in time, and there is a separate feat of strength for completing them all at +15. Cutting Edge, Ahead of the Curve are all going away as well. And the same with all of the PvP rewards. Although those rewards may come back later and be put on the vendor, because that's what we saw in Legion. But some of those will not be added to the vendor, depending on... Yeah, there's a lot of... It's so confusing. There's so many different PvP rewards. The
Get
hippo,
your hippo.
Yeah, the hippo.
The Mount Coalitions are
you can do it. I believe in you.
See? That should be inspiration enough. You've got time. Still a few days to go. You can make it. Yeah, I think that's the most important things in terms of preparing for the new season.
Read the Fat Boss guides.
There you go.
They're really good.
Mm-hmm.
And use the raid comp tool to be like, look at my spec, it's amazing. You should take me in the raid.
Mm-hmm. I have to say, it's been really cozy having Taliesin Evitel here.
It's been chill. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us.
Sorry if we ruined your stream.
No, not at all.
We do have a habit of doing that.
Not at all. I just noticed the time. It's over 3.5 hours. This is a really long show.
Yeah, but it flew by.
It really did. Didn't even notice.
Yeah, it was brought to my attention that I had a meeting 15 minutes ago to go over last-minute guide prep for with the Wowhead content team. So I just was like, hey guys, like just keep writing your stuff. We're in good shape. So yeah.
No, it's been great. It's been great having you guys here. Thank you so much for joining.
It's been nice chatting you after we missed you at BlizzCon.
Yeah,
same. The show started, but we passed each other on an escalator at BlizzCon. You were going up.
I was going up.
At the top, you started down, and about halfway, it was like that old coke ad, and we saw, and you were like, is that Annie Fuchsia? I think that is Annie Fuchsia. I think, but now we're at the bottom and she's at the top, so it's too late. It's too late.
I remember I saw them and I was like, I recognize them. And I was like, is there time to talk? Like, what am I gonna do? So I just smiled. Like, that was my hello.
And then there's that moment of, I could clamber over onto the other escalator at this point, or I could get to the bottom and run up, like, and then we just obviously, thank goodness, didn't do that. And here we are. We made it work.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's nice that we were able to talk.
Katsuki, who helped set this up, she's gonna be like trying to have like more guests on the show in 2019. I think it'd be cool. I think this was awesome. So
yeah, she was awesome.
Thank you for setting it up.
Get hold of on Twitter, but she made it work.
Yeah.
She's very persistent.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's time to wrap up the stream for today. Thank you everyone for coming. Oh, I have to also add that the chat feedback or the chat comments have also been very positive. People have been very, very happy to see Taliesin Evitel here. There were a lot of people who were also asking like, oh, do they stream? Do they stream? I didn't know, because they only see you guys on YouTube, so they were excited to see you here on Twitch, which is also nice. Awesome. Yeah. And I think for the post, once we archive it into the Wowhead post, we should also add all of their links so that you guys can find them if you want to check them out.
Yeah, we already have their Twitch on the Wowhead post, so we've got their YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch.
See, look at that. It's already prepped, and that's awesome. Yeah, thank you to everyone who's been here supporting just by being in the chat, by watching. Hopefully we said something that was useful or interesting or funny or something to you guys, and we will see you guys again next week, same time, and hopefully for the rest of 2019 we can find some more interesting people to join us, have a chat about things. It's always nice having people who are also passionate about the same games that we are to just sit here and talk about it. I am sure that you guys enjoyed it just as much as we did, me and Perk, because I could see the chat being pretty active.
Yeah, this was awesome. I had a lot of fun, especially discussing the lore stuff and just perspectives on like esports, people are upset, but actually this is kind of a cool thing. So it was fun bouncing off opinions on lots of things. And Annie, as usual, does a great job taking my massive notes and putting all the images and just making the show look professional, because
I try. It's not always professional, but I try.
Are you kidding? It is slick and in the moment and live. We tried to do something clever on a stream once and we broke our computer. It blew up, like literally.
Oh my god.
We tried to have a cool intro to one of our streams once with like a music intro and the hippo walking down the hill, and the computer hasn't worked since.
Oh,
it blew up midstream.
Oh no!
So the fact that you're still here and it's still working and everything's good, it's amazing.
I was
to watch these pro streamers in action.
I was reminded by somebody a bit later, so I didn't comment because we had already started talking about other things. But apparently in the intro, I did forget again to introduce myself. I didn't say who I was. People were making jokes. They're like, yeah, I don't know who that person is in the top left, but
You need no introduction at all.
Well, I don't know. I still need to get into that. Need to learn. One day I'll get it right. One day I'll get it right. Yeah. But yeah, thank you to everyone. Chat, Taliesin Evitel, Perk as usual. Thank you to everyone for being here. And this video will go up onto YouTube in case you missed some parts of it, in case you want to see the failed intro and all that stuff. It will all be on YouTube.
Me.
Yeah, if you want to see Brightpaw attacking Perk, that will be there too. And if you want to meet Morris, that'll be there as well. And everything from tonight will be put up there. Have a good night, everyone, or good afternoon. I'm not sure what time it is for you guys. Well, it's kind of awkward because I'm...
Yeah, we can't do it this time. We usually do a high five.
Yeah, normally we high five each other.
Yeah.
We can do this. We can make this work.
Yeah.
Go this way.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You go.
Wait, actually no.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
This way.
It is this way.
Yeah.
Wait, Perk. Perk needs to change it.
Way. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wait, this hand? Okay.
Yeah, and then
it is this way.
Yeah. Yeah, Tally is right, and then Evitel, if you do a lower one, maybe you can reach Perk.
Oh, I'll do a higher one.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. And am I doing the sound, or can you do it? Because are you gonna scare Luna? I can do it.
Yeah, you do it. My cat gets scared of everything.
All right. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yay!
I don't know if it worked 'cause I wanted to wait.
I'll keep holding it. There we go. We did it! 2 high fives.
I've never felt so popular.
We did it. That was pretty good. Sasses, that was pretty good.
It took me until my 30s, but I'm in with the cool kids. We did it.
Very smooth. We did it, Reddit.
Now I am spent.
Yep. That was it. Well, thank you again. And do you guys have any last words you want to say? Or shout yourself out yourself?
Thank you for having us. It's been really good fun. Any old time. It's awesome.
Thank you too. Thank you too. Well, in that case, goodbye, everybody. And we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.